No. Huolinger was surprised and said, no more than 10 martial arts schools? What about Sister Yun? Cloud Dance's line of sight looked over. Small Nine charming smile said, if according to the power of words, although Emperor Wu is stronger than those invaders, but for the tomb owner is still too low. Even if two more, I'm afraid also can't open. Ah, Huolinger said, it's too difficult for you here. Fortunately, Sister Yun is going to inherit it, otherwise you can only see the things in it. Small Nine smile of a face cunning say, the rule is dead, but the person is alive. Although there are many rules in this tomb, don't forget that I have many ways to avoid the rules. It's just as if I can manifest myself under prohibition. Huolinger's eyes brightened. What can you do? I have the residual energy left by the tomb owner, and I know the way to remove the seal. As long as I lead the way, you can enter any ear room you want. True or false? Huolinger's eyes were straight. So, we can get these things without any effort? Don't go to other places to have a look. If you slow down, you will be robbed by others. Then he ran directly to the inside. All they saw along the way were opened ear chambers. There were 5 or 6 large and small ear chambers. The small one was only 2 or 3 square meters in size, and there were only 2 tables inside, while the large one was nearly 10 square meters. According to Xiaojiu, these ear chambers are only external, and the things inside are worthless, so it's easy to open them. There's no need to worry about them at all. In the past, they were all discarded by the tomb owner. The ear chambers here are divided into 4 levels: Heaven, Earth, Xian, and Huang. Each level is divided into upper, middle, and lower. The most central one is Tianzi Airshire, while others are scattered irregularly in various places. There are also some Airshire that use space elements to float in the whole tomb, which need to be searched. And some of the most peripheral ear chambers don't even have numbers. They are filled with ordinary weapons and herbs, and you can take them if you take them. Small Nine hit a yawn, followed behind Fire Spirit Sun, toward the cloud dance nearby to say, the speech is quite a bit rich and powerful flavor. But isn't it valuable inside? Don't forget that my father and several other city masters are all in the realm of Wuzong. According to you, they can open even the ear room with the character of the earth is superior. Huolinger said anxiously, hey, there's something interesting about you, little girl. Small Nine squints a pair of eyes to smile, to see Fire Spirit Sun to say, a jade white hand stretched out a slender finger to point the head of Fire Spirit Sun. Why not to your father, but to outsiders? What if your father had to go to those babies? Huolinger pouts his mouth and hides. Dad, and they are just trading. Even if they open the ear room together, they just divide the things in it equally. There are 9 city masters and Dad can only get 1/9. But if Sister Yun gets those things, if she doesn't like them, she will give them to us. At that time, Dad will get more than 1/9. When Yunwu heard this, she suddenly burst out laughing. This little girl should believe her so much, she is not afraid to sell her? And they only met a few times. So, she sold her father and directly stood on her side, just because she thought she would do them good? Do you believe your Sister Yin so much? Small Nine is also very surprised, a pair of coquettish eyes open greatly looking at Fire Spirit Sun. How do you know your Cloud Elder Sister will certainly give you things? Huolinger snorted. I know that although Sister Yun looks cold, she is very generous to her own people. My father and I are sincere friends. Unlike those city masters, they are all dignified and pure trading relationships. Small Nine light smile, no longer speak, but in the heart is greatly surprised. Yunwu is so cold that she can make a little girl trust her so much. I think it must have some advantages. Maybe I should get to know her again. I thought so, but little Nine didn't say anything, but continued to spread science around this ear room. But even so, you don't have to worry, because the plunder of those people is just in vain. I suggest that you clean up the ear room below the yellow character now, so as not to regret it later. Fire Spirit Sun alone. Why say so? Small Nine eyes a smile. All the things in this tomb are left by the owner of the tomb to the next inheritor. Those who come to plunder, even if they rob more, also can't take out. When they leave, must pass through the transmission array to leave here. In the transmission process, all the things in the tomb will automatically leave and return to the standard, so later words don't need small 9 more to say. Cloud Dance and Fire Spirit Sun, two people already understood. Do you mean that this tomb is a tomb on the surface, attracting groups of explorers to come here, but it's just a bait laid down to find a successor? Cloud Dance asked in surprise. That's right, Xiaojie said with a smile. Even if the intruder's strength can surpass that of the tomb owner, he will not find it until he leaves the tomb. At that time, even if he wants to enter the tomb again, it will be difficult, because the whole tomb is a floating space, with no fixed place to live, in addition to specific factors are triggered, and then attract a new group of tomb robbers. Small 9's eyes look to the ear room which has been plundered in front, with a touch of irony. There are many organs in this tomb. Only the brave and resourceful people are qualified to inherit the master's inheritance. I just didn't expect to have an accident. The implication is that he is dissatisfied with Yunwu. In Xiaojie's opinion, he still thinks that Yunwu is not qualified to inherit his master's mantle. But out of compliance with the gambling agreement, she can only fulfill her promise. Yunwu didn't speak. She knew that even if she said it, she would not listen. You don't need to prove your strength to others, and after you leave here, you don't know whether the contractual relationship between them will survive, so there is no need to explain. Come on, if you are interested in the ear chambers below the D characters, grab them now, because after you accept the inheritance, the whole tomb will be yours. But those below the ground characters are not marked as tombs, but they will be taken out of the tombs at that time. Small 9 diverged the topic, as if the words before were not what she said, as always charming. Although she became the summoner of Cloud Dance, she never forgot her previous master. Conscientiously fulfill their obligations as a summoner, help Yunwu understand the tomb, and willing to let her become a successor. And feel sorry for the original owner from the private heart, but now can only bury that apology in the bottom of my heart. This contributed to the present attitude towards Yunwu. Neither humble nor overbearing, neither angry nor sad. I work for you, but I don't recognize you from the bottom of my heart. With small 9 words, Fire Spirit Sun, finally no longer anxious, all the way toward the inside. From time to those who have opened the ear room turned 2 eyes. But there was nothing left in every ear room. Occasionally, after 1 or 2 numbered ear rooms, Hualinger could not help looking sad. You said how happy they were when they opened the ear room. When they left, they found that everything was nothing but joy. How lost they were. Fire Spirit Sun can't help saying. One side of the small 9 to her cast a white eye, as if to say, have the ability, you let your Cloud elder sister give them things. Although Xiaojie asked them to rob the ear room below the character D, it was ironic, but Yunwu was not affected at all. The 3 of them really found an ear room without a mark below the character D. This ear room hasn't been opened yet. Let's go in and have a look, Cloud Dance said, then ready to start. Well, all along the way, it's all opened. I've been itching for a long time, Hualinger said with bright eyes. One side of the small 9 already shocked. She also did not expect Cloud Dance actually will go to sweep the ear room below the word, but she said clearly, all the things in it are herbal medicine and weapons discarded by the master. They are used to kill the invaders. Is this inheritor so mean? At the thought of this, Xiaojie's face is not very good looking. Even if the master's successor is not strong, he must have the spirit of an expert. Now he is struggling with such a small thing like an upstart. It's just but Yunwu doesn't know what Xiaojie thinks in her heart. In her opinion, the state of the tomb owner is something she will achieve sooner or later. But that realm is still a little far away from me now, and these worthless things for Xiaojie may be the things that I can use in my present realm. What's more, she is not alone. Even if she doesn't use it, she can give it to her partner in the future. Before standing in the ear room, Yunwu didn't notice Xiaojie's look behind him. He had already been ready to work. Small 9 changed face behind him, hesitated again and again, still did not make a sound to stop. With the strength of Cloud Dance, is very easy to break the door. So she doesn't have to do it at all. Even she wants to be away. Master, I'm sorry for you. I just lost your inheritance to such a person, Xiaojie thought silently in his heart. A loud bang. A wave of broken energy, and the smoke symbolized that the door of the ear room has been completely destroyed by the cloud dance. Sister Yun is so powerful. It's open all at once. The team I saw just now has concentrated the strength of several people. That's because those people are too weak. Not your Sister Yun is strong, or not small nine silently make complaints about the heart. Let's go in. The voice of Cloud Dance was calm, but after saying this, he took the lead to step in. Don't worry, it's just some small things. Little Nine continues to make complaints about it in his heart. Wait for my Sister Yun. Hualinger excitedly followed Yunwu and said, turning his head and looking at Xiaojiu, who had been silent since just now. Go. What are you doing outside? Small Nine One Lung quickly shook his head. No, I won't go in. Stand outside to show you. Prevent someone from coming. Go and choose what you want. Yes, it's a choice. They should just pick the right things and leave. Hualinger nodded. It's hard for you. Then he turned his head and went in. Small Nine has just relaxed a breath. A person quietly stands outside to wait. She really can't imagine that her master's heirs would regard the things that her master lost as treasures and look surprised standing outside and waiting for a long time. I finally saw the two figures come out from inside. The first thing for Small Nine is to look at their hands. When they appear empty-handed, they can't help but feel relieved. Fortunately, they didn't come out with a pile of things. It seems that they despise the things inside. It seems that the successor is not so ignorant of the world. The next moment, however, Xiaojiu's idea was overturned. As soon as Hualinger came out, he pulled Xiaojiu's arm excitedly and said, Xiaojiu, I tell you, there are a lot of Hualing grass in it. Do you know Hualing grass? The same as my name. It's said that it's a kind of spirit grass that can make good pills. Sister Yun is also very surprised that there are so many fire spirit grass. Hundreds of trees. How could she not know? The embarrassment flashed over a coquettish face. Even if you don't know it's Huling KO, you can guess what level it is. Cough, I know. Huling KO. It's not very rare. The owner of this tomb will cultivate his own spirit grass, so there are a lot of such things. It's a rare thing. Cloud Dance cold voice came over. Put it outside. I'm afraid it will also lead to looting, not to mention it's still such a large number, so I took it all. Xiaojiu's smile was stiff on his face. Take all of them at the first moment. She was still glad that the air was not so insightful. At the next moment, she told herself that she had taken away the things used to send the invaders under the word D, and she was still a treasure. How could she bear it? However, next, Cloud Dance, actually another faction, indifferent, said, How, you heartache? It's no use heartache. I've already taken it. Let's go to the next ear room. In this case, there should be a lot of good things. Cloud Dance said, directly turned to the next direction, behind Hualing's son, excitedly to keep up. Still don't forget to pull Small Nine. Come on. Small Nine want to cry without tears, but he is now the contract beast of Cloud Dance, so had to obediently follow behind. Before also has been laughing, now suddenly silent. I tell you, Sister Yin said, fortunately, we want to see these ear chambers. Otherwise, so many good things would be taken away by others. Hualinger comes up to Xiaojiu and says with a smile, as if he got a big bargain. Little Nine was silent. Sister Yun is generous. I said that I was studying herbal medicine and wanted a fire spirit herb, but she gave it to me without thinking about it. How much did you guess? Hualinger, doesn't mind Xiaojiu's attitude. She says to herself, most of them. Sister Yin asked me to take more than half of the herbal medicine in the whole ear room. She said that she only needed enough for her. I think Sister Yun must have something to do with Huling KO. Xiaojiu was stunned for a moment. A moment ago, she still felt that Yunwu was greedy, but now she found that her previous ideas seemed to be wrong. A greedy person who has never seen the world will be so generous to give his things to others? Do you have too much prejudice against her? She's not that bad, is she? Small Nine looking at the front, Cloud Dance at the back, as if thinking way. In the forest of the Xiao tribe, Shangguan and Nanganji quietly stand on the nearest tree to Xiao Wu and others, listening to the movement below. Hello, one of the men reached out and patted Xiao Wu with a smile on his face. I heard that you've got a lot of rewards recently. How can I say you shouldn't reward your brothers? That's right. It makes you pay so much money. Do you think it's more difficult to give you to those who are difficult than to kill you? I said that this is a barren iron rooster. Let's kill him, said a few men to push Mulberry up. Xiao Wu lying on the ground, such a strong man, but did not fight back, let a few people taunt. Don't worry. You saved the Wuzong adults, see you didn't go back. We'll leave directly. A man picked up Xiao Wu's collar. Will he lift up? You channel stagnant waste. Xiao Wu lowered his head and let them beat and scold. Shangguan and Nangong look at each other and frown, intending to continue to listen. I said, Xiao Wu, there's no fighting spirit in this world. You're not as good as a beast, so it's useless for you to ask for so much money. I think you'd better hand over the money. Otherwise, you can't get home with your brothers. He said with a sneer. Do you think that Wuzong can help you if you save him? Don't tease me. They are all high-ranking people. Do you think they will waste their energy for such a small person as you? Xiao Wu still didn't speak and didn't resist at all, which made Shangguan really can't stand it. He jumped down the tree. But Nangong, he didn't move. He just stood in the tree and looked down. Oh, let me see who's calling me. Shangguan sneered and suddenly fell in front of several people. They were so scared that they stepped back 2 steps. They looked up and saw that they were not familiar with each other. This just pick eyebrow boldly stepped forward. Who are you? There is nothing for you here. I see you still don't mix in blindly. With his head down, the superior could not help laughing. It felt like I heard something funny. I raised my head and couldn't help laughing. Several people were puzzled. Mixed up? Shangguan dashed in front of several people, raised his hand to grasp a man's neck, and pressed the man on the tree. Smile eyes curved. I tell you, he is my life-saving benefactor. How can you treat my life-saving benefactor like this? If you make me angry, it's not something that can be solved by apologizing. Suddenly from the body, to reveal a strong aura, coupled with Shangguan's face light, let those people tremble and swallow saliva. But the tone was still tough. How come I haven't met you? It must be Xiao Wu who asked to scare us. Do you think I'll be fooled by you? Shangguan smiles and turns his head to the tree. Those people can't help looking at the tree. Beside the tree, Nangongji, who is white and elegant, looks like an immortal. Like a god, he has a kind of condescending feeling. The setting sun hits him, and his holy but pure appearance makes several people feel stunned. When several people reacted, they coughed awkwardly twice, and their legs softened. They turned to see the Shangguan. This guy's momentum is not inferior to the one standing on the tree. I'm afraid the two people's realm is quite the same. At this moment, a few people knelt down on the ground with a plop, and they were so scared that they cried and cried. Great Xia, please forgive me, Master Wuzong. I don't know that the 2 great Xia are coming. If you miss them, please forgive me. Shangguan pursed his mouth with a smile in his eyes, but his face was full of serious expression. He helped Xiao Wu up, coughed twice with his hands on his back, and put on airs. I tell you, Xiao Wu is the life-saving benefactor of both of us, so if you dare to have trouble with him in the future, you must remember to walk together when you go out at night. Do you understand me? Several men nodded in a hurry. In that way, they almost spat out their tongue and wagged their tail. Shangguan snorted coldly, shook his arm, turned and walked toward Xiao Wu. If it's nothing, you can go away. Just finished. The men ran to the direction of the woods, disappeared in an instant. Looking at those people running away, Shangguan couldn't control them for a moment. He covered his stomach and laughed. Oh my God, it's so funny to scare people like this. Nangong has come forward and holds Xiao Wu's wrist. Xiao Wu is nervous and instinctively wants to avoid it, but in an instant, he swims around his body with a breath. After a while, Nangong took back his hand and frowned. Brother Xiao Wu, when did you start to exhaust your fighting spirit? Xiao Wu bowed his head and sighed in frustration. Then he said, for years ago that summer, when I went out to collect herbs, I was injured. When I was sober, I found that my fighting spirit was exhausted. No matter how I practiced in the future, I could not make my fighting spirit full. From then on, I became a useless man. Nangong nodded slowly, turned around, and walked forward thoughtfully. Shangguan laughed enough and ran after him. He looked at the two thoughtful people, scratched his head, and caught up with Nangong. Why? Do you see why the fighting spirit in his body is dried up? Sealed. Nangong, he has a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes are full of affirmation. This kind of seal is difficult to understand, but if you meet us, there will be no problem. Behind him, Xiao Wu vaguely heard Nangong say that there was no problem. He got excited and ran to Nangong. His eyes were shining with tears. He was about to cry. Master Wuzong, do you mean my fighting spirit can be restored? Nangong lowers his head, smiles, nods, and makes no comment. Xiao Wu's eyes filled with tears. He came forward to hold Nangong Yi's hand. He was so excited that he couldn't express it. Suddenly, he reacted again. He quickly pulled back his hand and began to laugh. Nangong didn't say anything, just went back to the house with Xiao Wu. As soon as he got back to the house, Nangong asked Xiao Wu to sit cross-legged, and he stood beside Xiao Wu, holding Xiao Wu's wrist and merging his fighting spirit into Xiao Wu's body. Walk into the meridians, open the long block meridians by the way, and then untie the seal step by step. Xiao Wu only felt that the fighting spirit was very comfortable in his body. He enjoyed it selflessly for a moment, but he didn't react to it. All he felt was a strong breath coming from his body. Suddenly opened his long, exhausted meridians. The majestic fighting spirit is like a flood, an instant into the whole body. Xiao Wu couldn't help but snort. His whole meridians hurt as if they were cracked. He clenched his teeth and heard a cold voice around him saying, "Guide the aggressive wandering." So I hastened to guide the fighting spirit and swam hard in my own meridians. Xiao Wu had not practiced for a long time, so he couldn't control it at all. His fighting spirit rushed into the main meridians and let Xiao Wu's blood gush out. Nangong hurried forward to join hands and sent a stream of fighting spirit to guide the fighting spirit in Xiao Wu's body. In a moment, it was calm again. It was not until Xiao Wu opened his eyes that Nangong stopped and breathed. Xiao Wu's face was a little pale. He was hurt by the collision just now, but he got out of bed and knelt down to Nangongji. He kowtowed several times. "Lord Wuzong, I don't want to repay you for your kindness. If I have a chance, I'd like to be a cow in return." Nangong quickly lifted him up, shook his head, and said, "This little hurry is not worth Brother Xiao Wu's help." Xiao Wu was so excited that he was about to cry. He laughed and said, "Anyway, I must buy a jar of good wine tonight. The three of us will be drunk tonight." Shangguan stood by and laughed when he heard this. At night, the stars were burning and the lights were shining. Xiao Wu cooked a good table and asked people to move 2 jars of good wine. He moved his dining table to the yard and sat down with 3 people facing the moon. "To tell you the truth, Lord Wuzong, it's because of this that I plan to marry my daughter-in-law and run away with others. Because I didn't have fighting spirit, I was bullied by everyone in the village. After so many years, I've been living a life as if I were dead. If it wasn't for you, I would be bullied all my life. So, maybe I would become something. Say, stand up toward the South Palace, end up wine cup. Anyway, I toast you a cup. Thank you for your help." Nangong stood up and raised his mouth slightly. "Don't be so polite. We have a long way to go." Shangguan stood up with his glass and said, "You're welcome. Do you want a drink or not?" Said, "A mouthful of wine. Cannot help but praise. Well, good wine." He picked up the wine jar and poured another bowl. 3 people are drinking wine bowl by bowl. Xiao Wu laughs happily and talks with Shangguan in the dark. Nangong sits aside, drinking wine on his own, looking at the stars and silent. It was not until Shangguan and Xiao Wu were drunk that Nangong looked back at the messy table and the 2 people in front of him. With a sigh, he stood up and walked towards the room, but suddenly, in a trance, he held the table and knocked down the bowl on the table. He bowed his head and laughed. He was drunk. He sighed and sat back at the table. He leaned against the stone pillar and closed his eyes. The breeze blew, and the whole tribe fell silent. The next morning, when Xiao Wu opened his eyes again, he found that he was the only one left in the small yard. He quickly stood up and ran into the room, shouting, Lord Wuzong's? However, no one answered. With a sinking heart, he rushed into the bedroom, only to find a letter left on the bed with a bottle pressed on it. When he opened it, he saw that it read, "The effect of refining qi with pills in the bottle was excellent. There's no reward for saving your life. Goodbye and take care." Some disappointed heart, looking at the paper, spit out a breath, dispirited sitting on the bed. Suddenly, a group of people rushed in outside the door. Xiao Wu saw that it was Xiao Xingjie and others. He quickly stood up and walked towards Xiao Xingjie. He was very depressed and couldn't lift his spirits. "What about Lord Wuzong?" Xiao Xingjie asked in a hurry as soon as he came in. "I don't know. When I got up this morning, I saw them leave this letter and disappear." Xiao Wu sighed. "I don't know when I can repay this kind of kindness." Xiao Xingjie was very angry and said, "How can we let them go?" Patting himself on the head, he was very remorseful. "They should be entertained so that our tribe avoided a struggle, thanks to two people." At this time, the two people riding in the forest, walking in the shade, very comfortable. Shengguan smiles cunningly. "I just think that we have helped them so much. We only need 2 horses. It's okay." Nangong Yi smiles and doesn't speak. In the desert inn, Meng Bai is very curious to drink tea and listen to the young people around him talking about the cannibal tribe. It is said that as long as this cannibal tribe appears in one place every year, it will let passers-by come into the tribe on the ground of hospitality and then take advantage of it to catch them and cut meat. As soon as the words were finished, all the people in the inn could not help shivering. Of course, Meng Bai also coughed twice. Meng Bai put in a sentence. "So, no one took the lead to exterminate these peoples?" "Ah, this young Xia has got the point." The young man suddenly came forward with a smile, patted Meng Bai on the shoulder, and said to the people around him, "So, in our inn, we are going to hold a recruitment now, and we are going to kill the cannibal tribe together, with a reward of 100,000 liang." After that, he looked at the people's eyes in the inn and said with a smile, "You'll share it equally." Cut. There was a hiss in the inn. Everyone began to have tea and chat again. No one paid any attention to the boy. Seeing that everyone ignored him, the young man asked for nothing. He turned his head to look at Meng Bai, stepped forward and sat beside him, laughing. "Young Xia, don't you have any idea to kill cannibals?" "Why not?" Meng Bai took a sip of tea and looked at the teenagers around him. "Are you so good?" The young man's face is unbelievable. Meng Bai didn't speak, but just smile. "Young man, where do you know so much information?" On hearing this, the young man clapped his chest with pride, and his eyes were full of satisfaction. "You ask me, I'm the best informed here." Then he looked around, leaned over to Meng Bai's ear, and whispered, "All the information here is sent by me. Do you want any information?" Meng Bai blinked, smiled, and didn't speak. "I know that recently, that cannibal tribe has captured a cruel character, who is said to be a woman in the realm of Emperor Wu." Meng Bai nodded, squinted, and laughed, as if not interested. "If you slaughtered the city, you can cooperate with her. I'm afraid she would have cut it down and wiped it out in the realm of Emperor Wu." The boy picked up the jug and gave himself the wine. He drank it and looked at Meng Bai with wide eyes. "How about it? How is this information to be traded?" Meng Bai turned his lips and stood up helplessly. He said with a smile, "The transaction has to be valuable. This information is of no value to me." Seeing that Meng Bai was about to leave, the young man was immediately flustered. He grabbed him and laughed. "Don't, young Xia. If there's nothing wrong, just look around." But Meng Bai shrugged and left. The footsteps behind him came after Meng Bai. "Young Xia, wait till you go." The young man panted to catch up, looked up at Meng Bai and laughed. "I don't ask for anything in return. I'll go with you." At this time, Meng Bai suddenly noticed that the young man was white and beautiful, and his age was about 17 or 18, but he was very clever. What made Meng Bai even more incredible was, "You are a woman." Hearing this, the young man turned red and quickly lowered his head and stammered, Who told you I'm a woman?" I'm a man, okay." Meng Bai had no choice but to smile, sighed, and walked forward. "Then you can lead the way." Say so. Here in front of a piece of yellow sand all over the sky, immediately can't see clearly the road ahead. At the sight of such a scene, Mengbai was still frightened. I suddenly thought of the flaming lizard and the unknown danger that I defeated by thunder robbery. "What's your name?" the young man said, looking up at Mengbai. This man looks unfathomable. He doesn't know what the origin is. "My name is Jia Zhong." Mengbai simply introduced himself and followed Jia Zhong to the deep desert. In Lu Sha tribe, Qi Yi's has already killed Red Eyes at this time. Qi Yi's body is covered with blood. He kills people whenever he sees them. The whole Lu Sha tribe is covered with blood, which makes people scared. Qi Knight's step by step a bloody footprint. The hands of the snake sword are trembling, listening to the people on the streets screaming, "Cry devil." The heart cannot help but sneer. "Devil? I'm afraid you are the real devil." All the way unimpeded chopping, suddenly, in front of a few men. "Qi Knight, look, it is last night with those who chase her." One of the men was very happy with a smile. "At last we met, didn't we? How are you doing?" Qi Yi's face is calm. She holds the snake's sword tightly in her hand. The blood in her hand makes the handle of the sword wet and sticky. It's very hard for her. Her clothes have been coagulated into a layer of armor by the blood, and her face is a little bit bloodstained, just like a Hell Shura. "My God, it's so beautiful." A man clapped and walked towards Qi Yi's. Qi Yi's was so nervous that he stepped back. "I've come to see your injury." The man walked slowly towards Qi Yi's. "You know, if you lose too much blood, it's not delicious." Then he turned his head and looked at the people who had been killed in the whole tribe and laughed. "Just like you, if you kill them, we can't eat them," said, but also a sigh of regret. Qi Yi's stomach surged, and he almost vomited out. He threw the snake sword in his hand and rushed towards several people. These people, I'm afraid, are already metamorphosed among the metamorphoses. They, together with the tribesmen, have already ignored their life and death. In front of an ear chamber in the tomb. Just now it was still in front of the bustling door, but now it became very cold. Those teams that were still immersed in the joy of harvest a moment ago, now all their members are lying on the ground and shouting, "Ouch, ouch." Long Qingxie coldly looked at them, and the black energy in his hand was put away. "Well, I'll die," the cold voice sounded, and the beautiful face seemed to be frozen at the moment. Looking at the people on the ground who had been saved by him, his eyes were full of disgust. If it wasn't for his good mood because he was about to see Yunwu, I'm afraid none of these people would stay. Long Qingxie looked up to the depth of the passage, and his eyes became soft again. "It's a little bit delayed, but we'll see it soon," Long Qingxie murmured in a voice that only he could hear. Then the head also does not turn toward the center to continue to move forward. In a corner behind him, a small group of people hid behind him until Long Qingxie left for a long time. That man is so strong, and it seems to be looking for someone to listen to what he said before. The speaker is a graceful young man. If they are dancing in the clouds, they will recognize him here, because he is the young man Mulin of Yulin Town. "I heard that Yunwu is also looking for someone." "Do you think they will?" said another. "After such a little time, they have already inquired into everything after Yunwu appeared in Huasher Town, so they naturally know about Yunwu's finding friends." "Cloud dance?" Mulin frowned. He didn't feel it at first, but suddenly it was possible. If other people don't connect them at will, they will not. However, in several towns around Huasher Town, there are not many experts here on weekdays. This time, there are 2 in a row. It seems that their skills are at least in the realm of Wuzong, and this man is even more powerful. Moreover, both of them came to Huasher Town to find people. In this way, it is difficult to connect them. Very likely. A man in white beside Mulin said that it was the Wuzong who fought with Yunwu before. "What are you going to do?" The man in white continued. Although he was only invited to join the team of Mulin, he always thought highly of himself. After he was defeated by Yunwu, he had a knot in his heart. Therefore, I directly hated the people in the Cloud Dance team. When I saw the people related to the Cloud Dance, I couldn't help asking another question. Mulin was silent for a moment and thought about it carefully. At last, he said, "Why don't we go up and have a look?" Since he didn't find our trace just now, his strength is not very strong. "Bring him to our team." I'll see what Yunwu will do if she finds out that her good friend has joined the enemy's team. The man in white was stunned and frowned. Even if we let him join, how can we compare the importance of Yunwu with them when they meet? Mu Lin snorted coldly. You look down on me too much. My confused heart pill in Yulin Town is not so famous. Confused heart pill. As soon as these 3 words came out, several people could not help but open their eyes. In order to deal with Yunwu, that woman, the young master even planned to take out the heart pill. It may be able to control people's mind in a short time. It's the treasure of Yulin Town. Only the city master of Yulin Town has it. For a moment, everyone could not help but take a breath. This young master is really a black sheep. In order to deal with a woman, he could do this. The man in white was also stunned, but then he also laughed. Since the young master is so willing, I won't say much. Mulin looked at the people's looks. Vanity soared, proud of the a wave of the palm, said, keep up. A small group of people ran after Long Qingxie in the direction of leaving. When they left, they did not forget to search the people lying on the ground and took out all the things they had searched in the ear room before. It's just that they don't know. Long Qingxie has known that their team is not far away. They just feel that their strength is too poor to fight with them. If Long Qingxie knew that they had a grudge with Yunwu, he was afraid that the people in this group would have died long ago, whether you were the son of the city leader or not. I don't know how many times, on the other hand, under the leadership of Yunwu, they found another ear room below the prefecture level that had not been opened. This time, they found another herbal medicine in it. Yunwu also generously gave half of it to Huolinger, and they went on contentedly. And what's different from before is that this time, Xiao Jiao and them enter the ear room together, as if they no longer care. Although Yunwu didn't say it, she also saw her changes in her eyes. It's just that the contract will be terminated after the end of the tomb, so Yunwu didn't say anything about her, just as she was a partner. It seems that there are many teams coming in. After searching for so long, only 2 ear chambers have not been opened, and all the others have been looted. Cloud Dance turned. The ring on the hand casually sighs away. Xiaojiu coughed softly and said, in fact, you don't have to mind. The more you go inside, the more good things you have. At that time, those things don't belong to you. Anyway, those taken away are worthless things. Cloud Dance shook his head. If other even, just herbal medicine is very important. Small Nine also want to say what? Cloud Dance suddenly turned his head, a face seriously looking at her. Whether a thing is valuable or not only depends on whether I need it or not. I need these things, so even if she is very common and not as rare as others, it is irreplaceable for me. Small Nine One Lung suddenly understood what Cloud Dance refers to. At the moment, I blushed and knew that I had misunderstood her. Maybe even from the beginning, my idea about whether the baby is worth money was wrong. Small Nine Low Head, a charming face up a little bit of red, appears more charming. I know. Cloud Dance did not speak. Looked up at the depth of the channel, said, the outer layer has been swept by us. Then next we will go inside to have a look. After looking at it, Xiao Jiuxi determined his position. And then he said, after passing the passage in front, he entered the inner layer of the tomb. From there, all the chambers are numbered, so it doesn't matter if you don't look. Anyway, it won't be long before you know all about it. While taking control of the tomb will be turned into a portable space, and everything inside will be known by then. Yunwu didn't expect to have this effect. It seems that there are many mysteries in this tomb. Otherwise, Xiaojiu won't say it incompletely at one time. On the contrary, he has to go through some hints to think of these key points. No hurry. Cloud Dance raised her hand and touched her chin and said thoughtfully, those city masters should have just arrived at the center. We should slow down and let them have a good look. There are too many people here. If I get the tomb, I will be the target of public criticism. It's better to let them fight for a while, and then I can get away. Sister Yun is considerate. Can we go to another ear room now? Huolinger said with bright eyes. Even if we know that the tomb will be in the clouds sooner or later, the playful nature is still more willing to open the room one by one, just like exploring. Well, let's go. Cloud Dance says decisively, then continue to walk toward the depth. Small 9 helplessly stroked the next forehead, a pair of beautiful eyes full of helplessness. After thinking about it for a while, I decided not to mention some of the advantages of the tomb for the time being, so as not to disturb the interest of the previous two people in exploring. The center of the tomb, a white figure reached the center first. Why? Why is there no one? Long Qingxie looked around, and a surprise flashed across his face. No, according to the speed of small things, they should have been here long ago. Are they lost? This is the center of the tomb. Unlike other places, it is a huge square. In the middle of the square is an existence similar to the altar. A milky white group of light floats on the platform in the middle of the altar. The light flashes, connecting the group of light and the altar ground. If you look carefully in the past, you can find that there is a white jade card in the white light, as if through the jade card connected to what direction. If several city masters were here, I'm afraid there would have been a fight, because that jade plate is the key to the inheritance, and it is also the biggest goal of several city masters in this trip. Jade plate contains powerful energy, which can directly promote a strong Wuzong to the realm of Emperor Wudi. They cannot inherit the inheritance, but there are no restrictions on the use of this jade brand. Several city masters have been stuck in the Wuzong realm for a long time, and they can't break through the bottleneck, so they all put their thoughts on the jade card. As long as they get the jade card, they are afraid that the forces of the surrounding towns will have to shuffle again. Tut-tut. I'm not afraid to be taken by others even if I put it here so openly. Long Qingxie came to the edge of the altar and looked at the milky light, but he didn't mean to start. Is the tomb of the ancient summoner so simple? He didn't have such an idiot to do it directly. If it wasn't for the person selected by the tomb owner, he was afraid that anyone who went would be killed. Long Qingxie then looked around and finally carefully checked all around, recorded all the organs in his heart, and found nothing special. It seems that I came too fast. Long Qingxie said thoughtfully, there are all kinds of treasures along the way. Maybe something happens to the little guy. In that case, I'll help you get more treasure. Having said that, Long Qingxie walked towards the direction when he came. Unexpectedly, as soon as he started, a small team stood in front of him. Young Xia, please wait a moment. The man in black came up with a folding fan in his hand and a warm smile on his face. Long Qingxie glanced at him, and the look in his eyes was well hidden. This team has been following him since before, and I don't know what to do. Young Xia, we are the exploration team of Yulin Town. I'm not talented. It's Mulin, the young master of Yulin Town. I had a chance to see the skill of young Xia. I admire him and come here to get to know him. I hope I can form a team with you to explore in this tomb. Mulin said with a smile, as if he were really so friendly. Long Qingxie squinted at him. Yulin Town, young master Mulin. He had heard something about it, but what he heard was what the people were talking about before they entered the tomb. By chance, he heard the name of Mulin, so he wrote it down. Although I don't know what happened at that time, I know there must be something unpleasant between him and the little guy. As long as it's unpleasant for the little guy, he won't be friendly. Before he could find Mulin, he came to find himself. Long Qingxie's eyes narrowed, and he had an idea in his heart for a moment. Team up? I'm afraid it's going to spoil your kindness. Long Qingxie said lazily, with a casual look, the things in this tomb have no attraction for me. I've just come to find my friends, which is different from your purpose. After that, Long Qingxie is ready to go directly over Mulin. The Clinker Mulin's eyes were brighter. Wait, if you want to find someone, you can do it. Our Yulin town is powerful and has a large population. If you can join us, I can ask my father to help you find someone. Long Qingxie's step stopped, as if he was interested in Mulin's proposal. After a long silence, Long Qingxie's face shows an evil smile. The smile on the character's face amazes the man. In that case, thank you. Just don't know your goal should be that thing? Long Qingxie raised his finger to the milky white thing in the center of the altar. What? Now that I'm here, don't do it? Mu Lin is a lung. This just discovers oneself at this time unexpectedly already arrived the center of the grave. They followed Long Qingxie all the way, so even if they saw some ear chambers on the way, they didn't do it, which was much faster than others. In addition, with Long Qingxie, there were not so many obstacles, but unexpectedly, they were able to surpass all the people to come here directly. Mulin's eyes looked at the milky light, and there was a flash of greed in his eyes. Although it's important to deal with cloud dance, it's also very important to attract this man with extraordinary skill. But no matter what it is, it can't be compared with getting that jade medal. Thank you for reminding me, Mulin said, then winked at the people behind him. Although the heart is very eager for that thing, but also did not forget before leaving the city lord to his account. The jade plate is very important for the tomb. There must be many organs around it. If you see the jade first, you must be careful. This is the account given to him by the Lord Mu before he left. Now in front of you, Pai. Mu Lin still hasn't forgotten, so he sent a man behind him to go forward. The man got the order, immediately nodded, and then went straight up. Long Qingxie's eyes glanced at Mu Lin carelessly, and he felt that this man was not so stupid. The man walked on the altar cautiously, for fear that he might touch the organ accidentally. But all the way, I didn't touch anything. I arrived at the milky light safely and looked at Mulin with a surprised face. Young master, there is no mechanism here. You can come directly. Do you want me to? Before the man finished, Mulin said, No, I'll take him. Come back. Yes, the man looked at the jade plate with nostalgia and tried to suppress the yearning in his heart. In fact, he wanted to get that thing, but he was afraid that he would be killed by the man beside him. Obediently backed down, Mulin, eyes full of salivation, quickly walked to the milky light next to the group, looking at the jade inside. I can't believe that it's so easy to get you, Murin murmured. When my father gets you, I don't believe that those who dare to fight against me can still live. The figure of Cloud Dance came to Mulin's mind, and a murderous spirit flashed in his eyes. That woman dares not to give her face in public. She must make her life worse than death. So thinking, as if with power in general, Mulin directly reached out to the jade card. The man in white beside Mulin suddenly felt something and exclaimed, Be careful, young master. However, it was too late. Mulin's hand had already touched the light group. The next moment, just now, or soft, milky, white light group, instant light, dazzling light, filled the center of the square. People have closed their eyes. Then, with the light group as the center, a majestic force directly flicked Mulin away. The power is so great that Mulin has no backhand power. Bang of a Mulin was directly hit a far wall above, dull sound, then heavily fell to the ground. Young master! Young master! Young master! A cry of exclamation rang out one after another, and then all the people rushed to Mulin. The young man in white arrived first and helped him up from the ground. There was a surge of qi and blood in Mulin's chest. This fall was not light, but fortunately it didn't hurt. The energy was just strong, but it didn't kill him. The man who just went up to test was still scared. Fortunately, the young master didn't let him do it. Otherwise, it would be him now. This jade card is really not good, Mulin said with a frown. For a moment, everyone fell into silence. No one could think of a good way. In the Quicksand tribe, blood has been flowing into a river. In the whole Quicksand tribe, there are limbs and arms broken, bloody, and a mess. If someone comes in and sees this scene, they will spit it out disgustingly. Qi Yi shakes the blood on his sword and wipes the blood on his face. His eyes are all blood red. Looking at the outside world, it's all blood red. At this time, Qi Yi's was possessed and killed every person he saw. All the women and children of the tribe were crazy, which made Qi Yi's heart completely devoid of compassion. And those men, like flies, now have 2 seriously injured people left. Although full of injuries, his eyes are full of excitement. It's really difficult for Qi Yi's to fight with several men of the same strength. After one night, he shivers and can't hold the sword, gasping and waving the heavy sword. Tired night. The sun has been projected from the eastern sky. The whole tribe instantly dyed orange. She was tired in body and mind. She looked at the eastern sky in a trance. She was dizzy and nearly fell down. The deep and shallow wounds on her body made her blood run away quickly. Lucky and angry, he patted one of them in front of him. He was surprised, but he was exhausted and couldn't dodge all night. He was shot by Chi Yi's. He flew back and bumped into a tree and suddenly lost his breath. At last, the man looked at Chi's ferocity and turned to flee to the tribe. Chi Knight cold face, no hesitation behind the man, together with the rapid toward the tribal center of the place. Until the sun has completely risen to the top of his head, the fiery sun makes Chi's Knight more trance. When he approaches the most bustling place of the tribe, he finds that there is still harmony in the tribe, as if he doesn't know that such a ferocious thing has happened outside the tribe. Chi's Knight color is bloody. He rushes in from the outside in a mess. The residents around him scream. Suddenly, the whole tribe center gathers here. Bad. It seems that they really don't know that the periphery has been slaughtered by themselves. He didn't dare to hesitate and almost killed him with his sword. Suddenly, a burst of heartbreaking screams. The hot day suddenly began. All the people ran around frantically, shouting for help. Chi's grabbed a man and wiped his neck with a long sword. In a moment, blood spattered. A woman nearby screamed and fell to the ground in horror. Chi Knight, holding a snake sword, came to the woman and said coldly, "Why didn't you be so afraid when you were eating human flesh?" The woman's frightened eyes full of tears, let Chi Knight have a moment of shaking, can't bear to turn around with a frown. But at this time, the woman suddenly laughed, almost jumped up and bit Chi Yi's arm hard. Chi Knight can't dodge, was bitten down by that woman, suddenly a sharp stabbing pain. Looking at the woman with a smile in her eyes, Chi Yi's eyes were cold. She stabbed the woman's heart with her sword. The woman had lost her life before she had time to hum, and her eyes lost their expression. Chi Yi's grinned and covered his arm. Suddenly, he felt that it was more painful than the stabbing of the sword. Turned to look at everything around, countless men and women, eyes panic as if to see a monster looking at her. It made her very sad, but the thought of that woman's crazy behavior just now. Chi's closed her mouth tightly, tore a piece of cloth from her body, tied her hand and sword tightly together, and stabbed a man's neck. The man turned pale with fright and rolled to the side, but the snake's sword still rubbed his neck. The blood suddenly sprayed on Chi Yi's face, and then there was no sound. Chi Knight has been exhausted, forced himself to raise his legs and run toward the patriarch's residence. Along the way to see people killed, gradually, those women's cry and men's roar, let her no longer have any feeling. Further on, we have reached a downtown area. All the villagers are setting up stalls, with vendors among them. Children are running around among the vendors, laughing and laughing. For a moment, Chi Yi's was soft-hearted again. He sat down beside a wall. His whole body was aching. The battle of the night was too intense. When Chi Yi sat down, he had no strength to stand up. "Big sister, why are you sitting here?" Suddenly, a figure blocked the sunshine in front of him, which made Chi Yi's open his eyes and look at the small figure in the backlight. "Are you hurt?" The little shadow squatted down, curled up into A, looked up at Chi Knight's face. Childlike eyes are pure. Chi Knight frowned, face complex. Reach out to touch the child's face, light way. "Are you happy?" The child actually nodded very seriously and said word by word, "We live here, especially happy. We have meat to eat every day, and we have good friends to play with every day." "Yes." Chi Knight, bitter smile, sigh, rubbed the child's headway. "Sorry." The child looked up in confusion, but he didn't respond. Suddenly, there was a noise behind him, and then countless people yelled, "Kill!" A lot of people are dead outside. In an instant, Chi Yi's eyes are full of indifference. He raises his hand and cuts at the child's back neck. The child is still confused, so he has closed his eyes and fell down. Reach out to pick up the child, gently put it under the wooden steps of the shop in front of him, pick up his snake sword and run forward. The whole market was boiling. A bloody woman rushed towards the crowd. In the desert inn, Mengbai and Jia Zhong go to the place in Jia Zhong's intelligence. The sun was scorching, and the two men were sweating profusely. Looking at the desolate desert ahead, Meng Bai could not help frowning. "Where are you talking about?" Jia Zhong breathed, wiped his sweat, pointed to the place where there was nothing in front, and said, "It's not far ahead." The two men were silent and walked towards the desert for a long time. Suddenly, in front of the desolate desert, a huge tribe suddenly appeared, but the door was empty. There was a bloody smell in the faint air which stopped Meng Bai and Jia Zhong. "What's going on here?" Meng Bai frowned and went forward again. The closer he went, the thicker the smell of blood became. Meng Bai and Jia Zhong looked at each other and saw the inconceivable in each other's eyes. "Is it true that cannibal tribes have been slaughtered?" Jia Zhong yelled, offering his sword and galloping toward the tribe. "Oh, wait for me!" Jia Zhong yelled and rushed to catch up. "Just walk to the door of the tribe." I felt the dead silence of the whole tribe. "You see what I said? That woman in the realm of Emperor Wu must be hard to deal with. These guys must suffer this time." Meng Baixin said that this woman is so cruel. Not long after entering the tribe, Meng Bai saw countless broken limbs and arms scattered all over the place, and the blood flowed across the place. The tribe had a sense of killing. He felt even more nervous and ran forward. And the boy named Jia Zhong covered his mouth and vomited out. Looking around with red eyes, he said, "Who is this? So cruel?" Even women Meng Bai was silent and walked along the scarlet blood. Chi Yi's thrusts her sword on the ground and looks around. It's all blood and corpses. Except for putting the children aside, there's no one alive. She gasps, but she doesn't dare to sit down because she doesn't know when someone will come. However, the dead silence around him, the girl named Shi Qiaoman, has not appeared yet. Chi Yi's thought so, vomited breath, and sat down on the ground. At this time, her numb body suddenly gave out a strong pain, and countless wounds on her body made her pale. He sat down with his knees crossed in a hurry and entered the state of cultivation. He was ready to adjust his breath and heal his wounds. He looked inside his whole body. There was a sign that he wanted to break through. There was a faint worry in his heart. If he broke through in this state, he would have died before he suffered from thunder. Suddenly, I heard the sound of someone walking around. Chi Knight quickly opened his eyes, looked up to the front, quickly into the alert state. In front of her, a girl came slowly, wearing a pink skirt and a flowing belt. However, Chi Yi suddenly sank her face. This person is not Shi Qiaoman, and who is it? Difficult stand up, the sword in front of the body, the realm of stone Qiaoman, incredibly unfathomable. This let Chi Knight can't help but a little nervous. I didn't expect it. When Shi Qiaoman comes over, Chi Yi's can't help frowning because of the murderous gas all over his body. "I didn't expect that I saved your life, and that's how you repay me." Chi Yi stood up nervously and stepped back 2 steps. This little girl is certainly not as simple as she seems. Shi Qiaoman stood in front of her, 1 or 2 parts away from her, no longer walking forward. "You didn't save me because you wanted to kill me," Chi said coldly in the night, alert to the little girl in front of him. She didn't know why she was so careful with a little girl. In front of the stone Xiaoman, but don't speak, just a face of gloomy looking at her. But in both hands, but suddenly luck blew fighting spirit toward Chi Yi's chest padded in the past. Chi Yi's heart is tight. He packs his whole body with fighting spirit. He raises his hand and claps it. It's right on Shi Qiaoman's hand. At the moment of relative strength, Chi Yi feels his whole body's blood boiling. Then a mouthful of blood spurts out. He staggers back a few steps and almost falls down. This seemingly very young girl must not be so simple on the surface, because this person's realm is above herself. With that, Chi Yi has already rushed to Shikyomen with his sword, and his whole body is wrapped in fighting spirit, attacking Shikyomen. Meng Bai and Jia Zhong, at this time, have been aimlessly searching for the people of the tribe, and have never seen the woman who almost slaughtered the city in the realm of Emperor Wu, as Jia Zhong said. "Why don't we go into the city?" Jia Zhong said that they were just about to leave when they heard a fight coming from the other side of the city. They looked at each other and ran towards the city. Sure enough, as Chi Yi's expected, Shi Qiaoman is not really a girl. In the fight, Shi Xiaoman's face changes rapidly, and his face is wrinkled. In an instant, he becomes an old lady, which makes Qi Yi's gnash her teeth. You can't beat me, kid. I've eaten more salt than you have. Stone Xiaoman's voice has been hoarse and ugly, not as clear as before. And at this time, she is also covered with wounds, although it does not affect her strength, but also a little inconvenient. Qi Knight to Stone Xiaoman attack. Yu Guang but suddenly caught a glimpse of the side, dozens of meters away. There are two people standing there, Lang Lang looking at this side. With a tight heart, one of them was still on top of himself. He couldn't find out at all. Qi Yi's didn't turn his head. He just yelled, "Who's that over there?" Meng Bai was on the side, looking at the bloody man in front of him strangely, but the man suddenly called out. For a moment, Meng Bai's eyes were full of light of hope. This voice is so familiar. Jia Zhong Kade, looking at the direction of Qi Knight. It should be this woman who slaughtered the tribe. You see her blood, also don't know how much hurt. Although I thought I was familiar with the voice, I couldn't remember who it was, so I rushed forward with my sword. But just before, Qi Knight is nervous, fly up a palm to split toward Jia Zhong's direction. Jia Zhong was startled and yelled, "I'm a good man. I don't eat people. We're here to help you kill the city." So, Qi Knight suddenly froze, turned to look behind. Seeing that Meng Bai's face had already appeared behind him, they were stunned and only heard Meng Bai shout, "Be careful." Suddenly he raised his sword and looked at Shi Xiaoman. Shi Xiaoman was beaten and staggered backward for several steps. He sat down on the ground. Meng Bai stood in front of Qi Yi's with his sword, but he couldn't help smiling at the corner of his mouth and said to Qi Yi's, "You heal quickly, I'll kill her." Qi Yi's, who has been fighting alone, suddenly sees his friend's face. He is moved, but he doesn't show anything on his face. He just nods and says, "Be careful." He quickly crosses his knees and enters the cultivation state. "Hello," I said, Meng Bai. "Do you know this woman?" Jia Zhong stood in the distance, shouting. Qi Yi's hears the sound, frowns, opens his eyes, and looks to his side. Jia Zhong squats in front of him and looks at himself curiously. "Well, yes." Meng Bai waves a sword and cuts at Shi Xiaoman. He sees that Shi Xiaoman has no power to fight back at all. He is beaten and retreats, and his mouth gushes blood. Qi Knight then. With that, Meng Bai raises his hand and throws a porcelain vase. Qi quickly raises his hand and catches it. He doesn't ask at all. He pours it out and puts it in his mouth to practice meditation. Meng Bai starts to smile faintly, but suddenly frowns again, because he sees that not far behind Shi Xiaoman, a large group of people suddenly rush over. Men and women, young and old, with weapons, very angry. "There are still people," Meng Bai murmured and flew up with his sword. Qi Yi's is now in a state of relief. He is in a hurry to adjust his luck. At this moment, there is a sudden thunder cloud rolling in the sky. The whole tribe is shrouded in darkness. The sky is full of lightning. Meng Bai's eyes suddenly brighten, and he looks at Qi Yi's. "Don't worry. I'm here to help you break through." Suddenly, Shikioman's side people beat back, fly to Qi Knight's side. And at this time, Shikioman's suddenly evil smile, "Stop, people," did not catch up, just quietly watching. Meng Bai saw that Shi Xiaoman didn't catch up and didn't pay attention to it. The thunder might fall down at any time. With Qi Yi's current physical condition, it must be difficult to completely break through. With this in mind, Meng Bai sat on Qi Yi's side with his knees crossed and put his palm on her back to help her repair the damaged meridians and wounds in her body. Qi Knight suddenly a burst of relaxed, feel the strength of his body has been improved, hear the sound of thunder outside, suddenly came to the bottom. Shi Xiaoman sat on the ground and looked at them with a smile. She was waiting for the weakest time after the robbery. An instant thunder hit. Let Qi Knight heart suddenly a shock, luck whole body fighting toward the thunder attack. See thunder hard hit, with huge energy. Let Qi Knight complexion a white, spit out a mouthful of blood, continue to fight against thunder. Several thunders fell one after another, and the houses and land around the whole tribe cracked, which made people scared. Qi Knight is covered with blood, has been weak. Sitting not far away, waiting quietly, Shi Xiaoman has already stood up, offered his whip, and walked slowly towards them. The last sky thunder strikes Qi Yi's fiercely. Qi Yi's heart sinks in an instant. He looks up at the sky, but Meng Bai suddenly ends up and runs towards Shi Xiaoman. And Shi Xiaoman suddenly waves the people forward and surrounds Meng Bai, but he flies to Qi Yi's in an instant. The last thunder, with a fierce momentum, instantly hit Qi Yi's and let her fly upside down. A mouthful of blood gushed out, and she fell to the ground. In a trance, she suddenly saw Shi Xiaoman's figure appear in front of her. She squatted down and stretched out her hand to pick up her hair. Meng Bai anxiously fights with a large group of people, watching Shi Xiaoman approach Qi Yi's, frowning. These people are really difficult. Qi Yi's, who was caught with her hair, was forced to raise her head and look at the old stone Xiaoman's face in front of her. After this evening's exercise, your meat must be very delicious. The ferocity in Shi Xiaoman's eyes makes Qi's anger rise suddenly. He raises his hand and pats Shi Xiaoman, but Shi Xiaoman grabs it easily and bites it. Sharp teeth instantly pierce into the skin. Let Qi knight instant recovery of spirit. Bite teeth, turn over, kick to stone Xiaoman's head. Shi Xiaoman doesn't let go. Qi's arm seems to be bitten off by Shi Xiaoman. She purses her mouth and draws out the snake sword. A ferocious look appears in her eyes, and she is ready to cut down her arm. Suddenly, Shi Xiaoman roared and flew back. Meng Bai suddenly came to him and helped Qi's up. Qi Knight is breathing heavily. The whole body trembles. The whole person hangs on Meng Bai's body. The tomb of the ancient summoner. It's the square in the center. Long Qingxia leans lazily on one side of the wall and looks at everything in front of him. His face is so light that it seems that no matter what happens, he can't get his attention. Young Xia, do you know that this jade metal is not so easy to get? Mulan suddenly turned to look at the dragon and said. Long Qingxia's face had no change of expression, as if it was not him who was questioned. His calm eyes were not half guilty to the sight of Shang Mulan. The grave left by the ancient summoner should always be on guard from the moment he comes in. Mulan's chest bet, Long Qingxia means, I just tell you what I see, remind you that what you want is there, but there's no need to remind you that there's danger there. You didn't expect to blame me? Although the meaning of Long Qingxia is not polite, the truth is true. No matter who it is, there is no reason to blame him. Two people just look at each other like this. Mu Lin in the heart directly also hated him up. Sure enough, it's not good to be friends with that woman. Mulan thought in his heart. But in order to be able to let Cloud dance hurt, but still stiffly endure down. As long as their own mischief has played a role, it may be able to win the two at one stroke. With that in mind, Mulan showed an apologetic smile and said with a smile, Young Xia, you're right. I didn't think about it clearly. Long Qingxia didn't say no. He didn't have the interest to remind him not to die when he saw the treasure. Young Xia, you are so far-sighted and calm in front of the treasure. I really admire you. Mulan calmed the breath of his chest, went to the dragon, and said with a smile. The smile on his face was very kind. I just don't know if you have any way to take it down, Young Xia. On the face that Dragon Qing Xia grows quite evil for, pretty eyebrow is tiny to stir up, issued a doubt. Oh, seems to be surprised. Why Mu Lin asked him. Mu Lin's face looked embarrassed. To tell you the truth, this jade card is very important to my father, so I have to get him. If you can help me, I can talk to my father. Long Qingxia gave a cold smile in his heart, but he looked embarrassed and said, the master of this tomb is powerful. Even I can't compare with him. Mulan said in his heart, isn't that nonsense? They're the legendary summoners. Even though he has been dead for such a long time, it can be said that this tomb was built with all his strength. And this jade brand so far, I have no way to take it in Mu Lin's heart, a burst of loss. Although here Long Qing evil so quickly refused, but for what he said, there is no doubt about him. After all, it's the tomb of the ancient summoner. Where can I get it so easily? But they all got here before the others. Is it necessary to leave like this? I'm not reconciled to that. At this moment, suddenly from the opposite channel came the noise. The people of the team immediately kept alert and formed a circle to protect Mulin. Ha ha ha. It seems that Yulin Town is going to take the lead this time. The bright voice rang out. Far away, you can hear it very clearly. Mu Lin was stunned, and then a touch of ecstasy appeared on his face. When the figure just appeared in the square, Mulin quickly pushed away the person in front of him and went up, shouting to the figure, Father! As soon as the Lord of Mu City looked in the direction of Mu Lin, his eyes brightened, and then he looked in the middle of the square. He found that the milky light was still there, so he didn't have time to pay attention to Mu Lin, so he just said, I didn't expect you to come so fast. I'll talk to you when I get the jade card from my father. That said, the speed did not reduce directly toward the jade plate. Mu Lin was so surprised that he called out, Father, no! But at this time, how can the Lord of Mu City listen to him? Behind him are the city masters of other towns. If he is not quick, he may be taken away by others at any time. Mulin was very anxious, but he thought that the strength just now didn't hurt people, and he thought that maybe he could get the jade medal with his father's ability. At the moment, he no longer made a sound to stop him, but just stood in the same place and stared at the behavior of the Lord Mu. The speed of Lord Mu is very fast. Even if he can't fly under the prohibition, he also raises the speed to the fastest. When he appeared next to the milky light, he did not hesitate to reach out and grab it. No! Later, several city masters who came to us immediately said with staring eyes, Hey, you're still a little late. It's mine! Mu City Lord complacent smile way. Behind several city lord also hurriedly toward this direction. Next moment, the dazzling light appeared again, just like just now, illuminating the whole square. What's the situation? Everyone was shocked, and they all stepped back for fear that there was something in the light. On the other side, Mu Lin and others, who had experienced it for a long time, didn't mean to be afraid at all. They just blocked the light with their hands a little, and then went to see if the Lord Mu was successful. There was a clear sound of heavy objects falling to the ground in the huge square, which made Mu Lin deeply aware that his father had also failed. Father, after the light disappeared, Mulin ran to the Lord and lifted him up from the ground. Father, it's very powerful. Although it's not murderous, no one can get close to it. The Lord of Mu City looks gloomy, but he is not hurt. But the moment before he is proud to show off that he is going to succeed, the next moment is so embarrassed to appear in front of the public. This kind of face beating is too fast. Let him unprepared. The first thing to stand up was to look at the other city masters. When they saw that their attention was on the milky light, the city master's face looked better. It's a tomb left by the ancient summoner. It's so powerful. Among the city masters, someone couldn't help sighing. Even the skills of the city master Mu can be directly shot away. You can imagine what we will be like when we go up. The voice fell into the ears of the Lord Mu, and his face became very ugly. Where is that flattering him? This clearly means that just now their embarrassed appearance has fallen into their eyes. After what happened just now, everyone who just arrived at the square calmed down, but when they looked at the milky light, their eyes were still fanatical. Dragon Ching, evil mouth a hook. The next thing, he does not need to intervene. He doesn't even have to worry about these people taking away the jade card, because in his opinion, none of these people has the strength to take away the jade card. Even if they take away the jade card, they will take it back for the little guy. Now the most important thing is to find someone. Even if he delayed seeing her for a second, he felt impatient. Go back along the way you came, but you didn't go far. The voice just came from behind. Young Xiao, please wait. Mulin with his team to catch up again, in a hurry to the side of Long Qingxie, some panting, as if for fear of missing Long Qingxie, this great Xia. Why didn't you wait for me, young Xia? And suddenly left. Don't forget, we agreed to form a team. Mu Lin's smile was genial. Although he was blaming, he said it like a joke. Long Qingxie's face was covered with a smile of CSC, and he said, Your father has passed. Don't you help? With my father, I don't have to interfere in things there. My mission has always been to find other treasures in this tomb. Mulin said with a smile. So we still have a chance to work together. Long Qingxia's eyes flashed. You can't deny it. In that case, let's go together. Say it, then turn around and move on. Looking at Long Qingxia's back, Mulin followed him with a smile, as if he had taken a big advantage. However, he was constantly thinking about how to meet Yunwu the other side of the grave. Yunwu and other explorers searched all the ear chambers they saw along the way. According to the current strength of Cloud Dance, it can basically open all the ear chambers. Even if it can't be opened, there is little Josie to help. And Small 9, also from initially feel Cloud Dance small family spirit, to later unexpectedly also had interest in this kind of behavior. It's almost time. After searching another ear room, Yunwu estimated the time and said to the two people around him, now some of them should have arrived at the center of the square, and we should go to see the excitement. Hualinger turned her eyes and said, I don't know if the jade metal has fallen into other people's hands now. No matter who it falls into, just don't be taken by the people in Yulin Town. Cloud Dance looked at the side of the little girl with the mouth. Seems to have inexplicable hostility to the people in Yulin Town. Can't help laughing. Even if it falls into their hands, I can get it back. Cloud Dance said, although the tone is light, but the eyes are very bright. Small 9 silently stood aside, did not speak, but will Cloud Dance look all in the eyes. Can't help but also in the heart for Cloud Dance clap. His master should be like this, no matter when he is so confident. Unconsciously, Xiaojiu has been slowly investigating whether the Cloud Dance is qualified to be his own master. And in the process of investigation, he has been vaguely willing to accept the Cloud Dance. But what she doesn't know is that Yunwu didn't treat her as her own summoner from the beginning. Until now, Yunwu only treats her as her own partner. Cloud Dance, two people in the Small 9, led toward the depths of the tomb. All the way, even if you see the ear room has not been opened. Also, did not stop to sweep. Bang, a loud noise suddenly came from the front. Is moving towards the depth of the Cloud Dance. Three people looked at each other, and then tacitly toward the other side. Damn it, I found this. Why do you rob it? A big man with stubble on his face was waiting for his eyes to say, and it was Mulin and his party standing opposite him. You found it? Mulin hissed and looked at him with a sneer. Although you found this ear room, you have no ability to open it. It was our team that finally opened it. What? Do we have to talk about things after we've done our work? Can we divide you half? Mulin has a high reputation in the surrounding towns. No matter it is because of the taboo of his identity or because of his superficial demeanor, no one will refute his words on the spot. However, the man in front of him is obviously the third kind of person. He will not let him down because of his elegant demeanor, nor will he be taboo because of his identity background. In this situation, he will not give face directly. Fuck you. The mighty man spat on the ground and roared in a loud voice. Lao Tzu and his brothers have just found this treasure house and are preparing to start. If you don't have a hand in it, the treasure house of this song will belong to our brothers. Who told you we couldn't open? Tell you. Weak and Mulin's face sank directly when the big man was rude. He always talks in a roundabout way. When did he come across this kind of straightforward rude language? But also in front of so many people mercilessly pointed to the nose to scold him. Let him how can endure? Speak with evidence. I warn you, don't blame me if you speak ill again. What do you want? You want to kill me? Don't you? You think you want to do what you want to do as the young master of Yulin Town, don't you? I tell you, this treasure house belongs to Lousy. No one wants to rob me. Next time you find it, I'll open it for you. Mulin's face was very gloomy. At this moment, he didn't want to talk nonsense with the big man. He said coldly, I'm afraid I can't do what you want. Since I opened this place, it's mine. After that, he waved to the people behind him and gave the order. Go in. Take things away. Yes, the uniform response sounded. And then the people rushed directly to the inside, one by one fierce, not letting. Who dares? It's not easy to be provoked by a group of big men. In one group, there was a person who stepped into the realm of Wuzone with half a foot. A group of desperado, do things without considering the consequences, only know that their brothers were bullied by the people in front of them. They will revenge back. A group of people directly to the door of the Iruma station. Stiffly will Mulin people blocked outside. Don't go too far, Mulin said in a cold voice, with an obvious threat in his tone. It's not fun to offend our Yulin town. At this time, there were not many people around him. Mulin didn't even intend to cover up. He directly exposed his own nature. At this time, he had already killed each other, or even never died. But it's a pity that the big man still didn't eat this. He also looked at Mulin coldly and said, Master Mu, I don't want to think about who's going too far. The voice of a strong man is rough, and it can sink down at this time. Compared with the threat of Mulin's life experience, the strong man's tone was more bloodthirsty. It was a bloodthirsty man who had been trained at the critical moment of life and death for many years. He lived a life of licking blood at the edge of a knife all day. What else was he afraid of? Mulin finally understood that the people he met this time were not the ones he had seen before who could make them obedient only by threats. Now he decided to kill them. In that case, don't blame me for being rude. After that, with a wave of Mulin's hand, a group of people behind him rushed up and directly wrestled with the powerful man's team. It's him again. Huolinger stands beside Yunwu and looks at the scene not far ahead. The smoke frowns. I know how to bully others all day, and I think I'm so powerful. If it wasn't for the fact that he was the child of the head of Yulin Town, how could so many people listen to him? Cloud Dance turned his head and looked at Huolinger. You have a big opinion on him. I thought you didn't hate him from your previous attitude. Huolinger was stunned, then turned his head directly. How can he not hate it? It's just that as the daughter of the Lord of Flint, I have to keep the relationship between the two towns at all times. Cloud Dance clearly nodded. The line of sight inadvertently skimmed a white figure not far behind Mulin. The heart can't help but jump, but was stunned when seeing that face. It's so much like his two peas, but of the temperament and action of a man. If it wasn't for the difference in figure and appearance, Yunwu almost thought that she had seen Dragon's evil. The man who has been separated from her for months. How could that be? Cloud Dance murmurs to say. The voice is very small, but still by the fire spirit son of the side herd. What's the matter? Sister Yun Huolinger followed her line of sight and looked over there. As expected, he saw the man in white just looking over here. Huolinger asked curiously, Sister Yun, is that your friend? The cloud danced a pause for a while. The corner of the mouth curled up a touch of radiance, said, is a friend, have not determined yet. Huolinger looks at Yun Wu with some doubts, but finds that she doesn't mean to continue to talk, so she doesn't continue to ask. Anyway, it's just a contradiction. It's not that annoying guy who bullies people again. Huolinger tooted his mouth and knew that Yunwu always hated this kind of trouble. So he said, Sister Yun, we'll go there and don't pay any attention to them. This time, Cloud Dance is unusual. I've seen it all. How can I ignore it? Huolinger was stunned, and then he saw Yunwu walking slowly towards the other side. Behind him, Huolinger and Xiaojiu look at each other. They are very surprised at Yunwu's behavior. Seeing Yunwu walk past, they have to follow. The battle ahead has already begun. At this time, the fighting spirit of all kinds of colors is flying. If people with less strength are here, they will be directly injured. But the Cloud Dance is like entering the no one's land, self-care toward the other side. Mulin's mind was all on the battle in front of him, and he didn't notice the approach of Yunwu at all. He saw that the people he sent couldn't beat each other's people. Mulin's face sank and said to the man in white standing beside him, Go and get rid of them for me. This man is the master of Wuzong realm. He was hired by the Lord Mu. He was not his servant, so he was very upset when he heard Mu Lin's command in this tone. He didn't answer at the moment and went forward in a dull voice. In the battle, the existence of an expert can often play a key role. After the person from the Wuzong realm joined, the battle was won by a powerful man. In a twinkling of an eye, the balance of victory tilted towards Mulin. However, Mulin, who was also an expert, had not yet made a move. A touch of disappointment flashed in the eyes of a big man, but more of it was bloodthirsty. Mulin looked at the situation in front of him with a cold smile. What? I just said that I would give you a chance. You don't want to fight me. Who is to blame for this? He glared at Mulin fiercely after fighting, as if he wanted to print his appearance in his mind, and said, I poo. Scum. Do you have the face to say that? Mulin sneered. Besides, ugly words are just words, but you can say whatever you like. It won't be long before you have a chance to speak anymore. Although a strong man is fierce and reckless, he is not stupid. After hearing this, I know that Mulin has killed him. I'm afraid that from the beginning his own ending has been doomed. If he did it again, he would also choose to offend Mulin. But it's a pity that these brothers who lived with him didn't die under the mechanism of the tomb, but died in the hands of Mulin. A touch of reluctance flashed in the eyes of a strong man. At this time, a figure suddenly broke into the war, compared with the figure of those burly men around. The figure who just broke in seems very small, as if a small butterfly flies into a chaotic place, which may destroy her at any time. But it is such a tiny-looking butterfly, but it can swim freely in it. Cloud dance? Mulin's face changed greatly, and he screamed out. He would never forget how much pressure Cloud Dance exerted on him in the passage of the tomb. Although I thought later that I must feel wrong. How could a young man like that have that terrible strength? People around him also comforted him so much. So he was proud, really thought so, and even wanted to frame her, let her and her friends fall apart. But when Cloud Dance appeared again, Mulin couldn't help thinking of the pressure in the passage, which almost made him breathless. Yunwu glanced at him lightly. There was no extra emotion in his eyes. It seemed that he was just an irrelevant person, but such an ordinary look made him back. Behind him, there is another man who has the same color change as him. Long Qingxie is obsessed with looking at the figure that he has missed for a long time, and almost rushes to recognize her. From just now on, he has been looking at her, watching her step by step, also watching her rush into the battle. Little guy, how can you be so brave? What a good boy. Long Qingxie said in a low voice. His eyes were full of flattering smile. Such a battle is a piece of cake for Yunwu, so he didn't worry about the danger of Yunwu dance at all. Instead, he began to mourn for the man in front. I don't know how many of his people will survive after this battle. I couldn't fight, but now there's another one. Does God have to fight against me? A touch of despair flashed in the eyes of a big man, but more of it was madness. Cloud Dance to join the battle of the figure let him see in the eyes, the body light, skilled action, obvious extraordinary skill. But he didn't recognize such a character at all. Naturally, he thought it was someone sent by Mulin. Boss, it's not right. You see she's helping us. A tall and thin man beside him heard the voice of a big man and gave a voice to remind him. As soon as the words came out, the big man was stunned and looked over there. Sure enough, he saw that the target of Yunwu was the people who wore the uniform clothes of Yulin Town. This what's going on? The big man looked at what happened in front of him. Cloud Dancing figure is like a flying butterfly, constantly shuttling through the crowd, waving an ancient martial arts sword in her hand, which can always take away the lives of people. One by one, the figure is falling down. Then she takes out a person who belongs to the category of experts in the fish scale array, but in her hand, it is like a fish on the sticky board to be slaughtered. Boss! She's here to help us, the men around them yelled excitedly. The voice attracted the eyes of all the people around. The big men gradually became excited, while the people in Mulin were full of panic. White Shadow, what are you doing? Go and stop her, Murin cried out in panic. The Wuzong master in the battle took a life here, turned his head, and put his eyes on Yunwu. Looking at that fluent technique, White Shadow's eyes were stained with a layer of killing intention. Cloud Dance? White Shadow low voice spit out these two words, clearly did not use much volume, but let all the people in the scene heard. The dragon on the other side narrowed his eyes dangerously and looked at the man in white. He's a little upset, and he's very upset. The color of his clothes was bumped by other men, and the key is that he still wears white so ugly. The most unpleasant thing is that he is also wearing white clothes, and he dares to be so vicious to his little guy. Although it's a matter that 8 poles can't get together, it's the same result for Long Qingxie. He's very upset. Young Xia, I don't know if I can ask you to do it. Mulan suddenly turned his head and looked at the dragon behind him. From just now until now, Long Qingxie has never said anything. Mulan thinks that dragon's evil is the default of his and the big man's behavior of seizing the ear room. He also thinks that dragon's evil must be just so light and light on the surface. Who can't pretend? And Cloud Dance appeared for such a long time, but he had no reaction, which was enough to show that the friend he was looking for was not Cloud Dance. Maybe it's just a coincidence that there are 2 masters in several towns, or 2 masters who don't know each other. They are looking for their own friends here. If you are willing to do something, Yulin Town owes you a favor. Please let me know what you need in the future. Mulan looked at Long Qingxie and said seriously. At this moment, he knew that only Long Qingxie could help them. Long Qingxie eyebrows picked, looking at in front of a face, seriously looking at their own Mulan. Silent for a long time, did not speak. Finally said, "Good, I go," said, then slowly stood up straight body. Toward the fighting place a little bit of move past. In the front, Bai Ying and Yunwu have been fighting together for a long time. Yunwu is merciless. Compared with the last fight in the channel, this one is more real. Although the hand of the ancient martial arts sword did not rely on the power of Black Flame, the strength of Emperor Wu alone was enough to crush White Shadow. You Emperor Wu, White Shadow can't believe looking at this quite young woman in front of her. Even can say that she is just a little girl. Such a person is the master of Emperor Wu's realm. How can he believe it? He has always been called a genius. Cloud Dance mouth a hook, but did not answer, directly with their own strength to prove the inference of White Shadow. What? Is she Emperor Wu? How could it be Bai Ying's voice didn't deliberately lower, so Mu Lin on the other side heard it clearly. This little girl is the realm of Emperor Wu. Is it true or not? Really? Look at her strength. The people here are talking about it one after another, and their eyes on Yunwu are different. Such a young Emperor Wu must have made great achievements in the future. Mulan naturally knows this. At this stage, no matter whether Yunwu is Emperor Wu or not, he has only one choice, that is to kill her. But can you do it by yourself, young Xia? Looking at the back of the dragon, Mulan could not help shouting, "Young Xia, kill her! Yulin Town owes you a favor from now on." Long Qingxie turned his back to Mu Lin's face and showed a lazy smile. He replied lazily, "Good." With the answer of Long Qingxie, Mulan finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the strength of this young Xia is not weaker than that of Yunwu. On the other side, Huolinger frowned and asked Xiao Jiao, "Do you think that man is so powerful? After knowing Sister Yun's strength, he is still so calm. Isn't he Emperor Wu?" Small Nine, one pair of coquettish eyes put on the body of Long Qingxie. That handsome and shameless man looks is so dangerous. Even she can't determine the strength of this man, so can only shake her head. "I don't know, but your Sister Yun is not weak. And I always feel that the relationship between them is unusual." With such an answer, Huolinger was slightly relieved. No matter what his relationship is, it's not common as long as Sister Yun is not in danger. In front of the battle, the speed of Cloud Dance is getting faster and faster, and the whole battlefield has changed from the initial scuffle to the battlefield of Cloud Dance and White Shadow. The others, no matter they are the strong men or Mulan subordinates, all give up the idea of coming forward. Looking at the purple fighting spirit, who has the courage to release his fighting spirit? There is a man who dares. Cloud Dance once again, hands up, knife fall. Hand of Gu Wu, big knife, directly toward White Shadow cut. This once if cut, must be fatal. White Shadow's reaction speed is very fast, and the Cloud Dance attack has not yet arrived, directly toward the side of the distortion, with an extremely tricky angle. Just hide this move attack in the past. But it's not over. Long Qingxie's figure appears between them, but it doesn't attack Yunwu. Instead, it kicks Baing, kicks him out, and bumps him into the back wall. Boom, a loud noise. White Shadow's body directly fell on the ground, all over the bones as if scattered in general. But for the first time raised his head, can't believe looking at the man in front of him. "What are you doing, young Xia?" Mulan exclaimed excitedly. "I want you to kill that woman. What are you doing?" Long Qingxia's eyebrows picked lightly. He turned to look at the excited Mulan over there and said something that made him more collapsed. "You asked me to kill, but I didn't say who to kill. And even if you do I promise? Did I promise to kill someone for you? Besides, even if I promise, how about I go back now?" Mulan's face changed greatly. Just now, he thought that the person he was looking for was not Yunwu. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but the fact told him that he was just deceiving himself. Think about it. If you stand with her, you will be against my whole Yulin town. At the critical moment, Mulan can only think of this move, staring at the dragon, and said, "Oh, is that right?" Long Qingxia stood beside Yunwu and said, "I know you are the young master of Yulin town, but what about that? Let alone a small Yulin town. Even if the whole country gives it to me, I don't want it." Mu Lin Chi's face turns blue. "I don't know what's going on today. It seems that everything is not going well since I met Yunwu." Forgetting the name of the young master of Yulin town, which has always worked, is becoming more and more ineffective and less taken seriously. Now, some people call their names and say that they are not interested in Yulin town. Good. Mulan laughed angrily, looked at the man standing beside Yunwu, and said, "I should have thought of it. You have discussed it. The purpose is for the things in this grave." Long Qingxia shrugged his shoulders and said, "So what? Do you want to eat all the things here?" Mu Lin's eyes stare, looking at the dragon's evil appearance, but he can't say a word. On the other side, the White Shadow, who was kicked to one side, had already stood up from the ground and looked at the two people in front of him viciously. His eyes were full of anger. It's really a group of people." Baing said the same thing as Mulan, but both of them forgot who was the first to find whom at the beginning. If Mu Lin didn't use the dragon to deal with Cloud Dance at the beginning, this would not happen at this time. "Yes, they are." "So what?" Long Qingxia coldly said, with the incomparably charming face, suddenly blocked each other speechless. "It's you." Long Qingxia's words just half said. White Shadow can't help but shiver from the bottom up. He has a premonition. The white man's next words are absolutely not good words. Sure enough, Long Qingxia immediately said, "You dare to speak to her like that, even dare to be murderous to her? Then I'm no wonder." As soon as the words were finished, the hand of Dragon Qingxia turned, and a black energy leaped directly in the palm. As soon as the power appeared, people around him suddenly opened their eyes, as if they saw something more terrible, which was more terrible than Cloud Dance. Yu Wuling Baing looks at the handsome man in front of her in shock. However, it was the dragon's action that answered him. Between that group of small jump of black energy light floated up directly toward the White Shadow fly. It seems that it's so slow, but Baing doesn't even have time to react. The black energy is fleeting, and it has disappeared into the body of White Shadow. Wingo Island. Sure enough, the island is full of tenderness. The women here are beautiful, hot, graceful, and passionate. This makes Sidhu Lan a little embarrassed, just like the fantasy in front of him now. At this time, Song Wanxiang's eyes were already soft and shining. Looking at Sidhu Lan, his eyes were full of deep feelings. However, Sidhu Lan sat awkwardly beside him. He seemed to be very formal and had an impulse to escape immediately. From the magic incense sitting in Sidhu Lan opposite, looking at Sidhu Lan's very embarrassed face, can't help but sigh. Also, maybe time is not enough. After all, we just met and we are not in a hurry. From the magic incense side, laughed, but very reluctantly, turned away. Sidhu Lan watched from the back of the magic incense until she disappeared at the door, just vomited a breath. It's really troublesome for secret women to turn around and see that they are resplendent. Even the bowls and chopsticks are made of pure gold, which makes Situlan sigh. As a matter of fact, they are not easy to be provoked. A woman can lead a tribe to such a brilliant level, which is really not what ordinary women can do. But I don't know when I can leave here and find my friends. Stand up and walk into the room. Don't think about it. I just want to arrange for him to live here. I was so sleepy that I didn't think about it anymore. I just fell asleep. It's dawn. Before he opened his eyes, he heard the voice of the magic fragrance in his ears. With the fragrance, Situlan quickly closed his eyes again. Why haven't you woken up? Are you so sleepy? A bowl of fragrant porridge was put on the small cabinet beside the bed. The fragrant wind left again with a sigh. Situlan finally vomited a tone, sat up in a hurry, looked out of the window, and walked away from the phantom fragrant figure. Don't know how to face from the magic incense eagerness. Situlan think also feel headache. Cross knees, sit up, close your eyes, began to carry on breathing. The fighting spirit in his body didn't mean to break through, which disappointed Situlan. So he got up and cleaned up and went out of the room. I haven't seen this rich island carefully these days. Just in the morning, the island is busy with people coming and going. There are many pubs on the street. At the door of the pubs, there is a wooden board with all kinds of strange rewards on it. Situlan curiously walked over and talked with a group of people standing in front of the board. The price is too low. My God, high-level Warcraft is only 5,000 gold. How can people go? You say it's not enough for us to buy back the blood pill. That's right. This one won't work. Let's go to the next one. After carefully looking at the things on the board, he was attracted. There were many rewards and wanted tasks, each of which had a different price, which made Situlan really interested. He took a look at the recruitment in one of the taverns and went in. Innumerable warriors sat in the tavern chatting and boasting about their strength. Behind the counter, the shopkeeper was cleaning the table, lowering his head and not looking at the people coming in. Boss! Situlan came in and called. In front of the person did not look up, continued to wipe the table, completely while Situlan ignored. Hello, boss, are you recruiting here? Situlan called again and could not help knocking on the table. At this time, the boss finally raised his head, looked at Situlan coldly, and pointed to the upstairs. Situlan said thanks with a smile and turned to walk upstairs. On the second floor, there were all elegant rooms one by one. At the door of the elegant room, there were tasks one by one and the number of recruits. This made Situlan feel very funny. He found a boy lying on the table sleeping and knocked on the table. Hey, little brother, are you still recruiting here? The young man immediately raised his head, opened his eyes, and looked at Situlan. He was surprised and said, Are you here to recruit, young Xia? Situlan sat down and nodded, but he was thinking about how to earn some money to find friends. The young man in front of him jumped up and came out from behind the table. He took Situlan's hand and burst into tears. I've been sitting here for more than 10 days. No one has come at all. Young Xia, you are the first one. All of a sudden, Situlan had an ominous premonition, but before he asked more questions, the boy had turned and ran away, leaving a sentence, Young Xia, wait a moment. Situlan was very helpless, so he had to push open the door of the house and come out. He looked at the doorplate. Suddenly, he opened his mouth in amazement and escorted the escort team. What a recruitment! I can't laugh or cry in my heart. Why doesn't anyone go to this kind of recruitment? If some lazy people are willing to go to this kind of task, which is easy to make money but not tired. Before long, the young man came over with an old man. Before the old man spoke, he had already knelt down excitedly. Situlan quickly helped the old man up and sat on the chair with a bitter smile. The old man doesn't have to be so polite. It's just a seeing off team. It's not easy for us to see off our parents. The old man looked at Situlan in amazement. Don't you see where we said to send it? See, send the Devil's Land Forest to Ningxia Island. Situlan blinked. What's wrong? The two men looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. The old man took out the map and put it in front of Situlan. You really don't know where the demon forest is? Aren't you from here? But with a bitter smile, Situ Lan had to nod. The old man took a look at the young man beside him and said to Situ Lan in a twinkling of an eye, "If there is no problem, we can start. We can go to Xiaofu and talk about the process in detail. After signing the agreement, we will pay half of the reward first, and then pay the other half after we come back in good condition." Then he arched his hand and said, "I'm in the next day." Situ Lan also quickly arched his hand under Situ Lan. So that night, Situ Lan and Tian Chao went to the mansion. The old man explained the whole process of the task in the evening and placed Situ Lan in a guest room. The next morning, Situ Lan followed these people on the road. There are many people in the company, but it seems that they are all under Tian's family. They said hello to each other and walked in one direction. "Where are we going?" Situ Lan had some doubts. To pick up the bride, of course. Tian rode beside Situ Lan with a happy smile. The bride lives in a village not far away. She's a lady from a rich family and marries the island leader there. Situ Lan squints his eyes and says nothing behind Tian. All the way there is a chat without a word. Less than half a column of incense time has arrived at the Mrs. Home. The door of the Mrs. Home has been decorated, flying red everywhere, extremely gorgeous. The whole village knows that the young lady is getting married. It's said that this young lady is a famous beauty in the whole village, but she has been waiting to be married. If it wasn't for her parents' tough decision to marry her to the island leader this time, she might have become an old girl and couldn't get married. So, is there such a custom here? Situ Lan and his party stood outside the door, watching the two maids help a girl with a red cloth cover out of the room and go to the carriage. Vaguely, it seems that you can still hear the girls cry. People around seem to be very heavy. Only parents were the abnormal smile happy. As the girl was sent to the carriage, the people at the door drove the carriage, and they went to the direction of the demon forest. The big red carriage was very conspicuous on the island. It attracted the eyes of all the people around it. Situ Lan sat on the horse and looked around. Everyone cast a curious look. Suddenly, in the crowd, Situ Lan in the crowd saw a familiar figure from the magic incense. At this time, from the magic incense is standing in the crowd, two people's line of sight, unexpectedly so unprepared to look at each other. He frowned in Huan Xiang's eyes. His eyes were full of tears. Suddenly, he raised his hand and wiped his eyes. He turned and disappeared into the crowd. Situ Lan felt tight in his heart and sighed again. Maybe it's not good to escape like this, but now, with a bitter smile, he turned his head and went on. Soon, the team moved from downtown to the remote wild. From the beginning to the end, the girl in the red sedan chair didn't show her head. By dusk, everyone had come to the foot of the mountain. Over this mountain, through the Devil's Land forest, you will arrive at Ningxi Island. Tian ordered everyone to get off the horse and set up camp at the foot of the mountain, but it's too late. We can't go into the mountain and have been walking for a day, so stay here first and start tomorrow. So everyone started to camp quickly until it was completely dark. Everyone began to take out dry food. Some people even went to the neighborhood to hunt rabbits. They made a fire and talked and laughed. Although they were tired, they were very happy. Situ Lan turned to look at the red carriage. The girl in the carriage didn't say anything and didn't ask for anything. This made Situ Lan a little strange, so he picked up the rabbit just baked and went to the carriage. "Girl, come down and have something to eat. You've been away for a long time, and you should be hungry," said Situ Lan, sticking to the side of the carriage. There was a sudden sound in the carriage, and then the curtain was lifted, a small gap, and a beautiful slender hand stretched out from inside. Situ Lan reached out and handed her the hair in his hand. After taking the hair, he drew back. There was no sound again. Situ Lan felt bored, so he was ready to return to everyone. Suddenly, in the carriage behind him, a small but very nice voice came. Please wait a moment." After a pause, Situ Lan sighed, turned to walk over and stood on the side of the carriage. "Please, miss." Am I? It seemed that the girl in it was very uncomfortable. After a long time, she didn't understand. After a long time, she finally said shyly, I think that can you go with me? Sidolan felt a little embarrassed, but after looking at these people, they were all big men. None of them could be responsible for serving a woman. He was also very depressed. He was ready to promise to see a man come over, patted him on the shoulder, and said, I'll go with her. You don't know where to go. Without much thought, Sidolan nodded and walked towards the fire. Looking around, he saw the man holding the girl's hand and coming out of the sedan chair. They walked towards the woods nearby. In the end, there was only a dark forest. Why don't you come back? Etion murmurs and turns to look at the woods. He has fallen asleep around him. The campfire has gone out, and finally it has gone out in a gust of wind. I have a bad feeling in my heart. Sidolan looked at the woods and asked Etion, Is this wood safe? How could it be safe? Etion said, As long as it is a place with luxuriant trees, Warcraft appears in groups. Besides Warcraft, there are many mountain bandits around here. Etion frowned, very flustered. Sidolan didn't speak. He stood up and walked towards the woods. Into the woods, I saw a dark, looking around, but how did not find the girl and the man's figure. Sidolan's heart was uneasy. Was he attacked by Warcraft or did the girl run away? Continue to explore forward, toward the depths of the woods. Suddenly in front of the forest came a conversation. You go quickly, don't come back. But why don't you come with me? The woman's voice with a cry has been pleading. I beg you, come with me quickly. If we disappear here, others will only think that we were eaten by Warcraft. So you go with me. We find a place where there are no people to live together. Isn't it good? Sidolan frowned and stood not far away listening quietly. But Fanmei, I'm still the bodyguard of the master's house. How can I betray the master? Is your love and I not as important as your master? There was a clear sense of disappointment in the woman's voice. A moment of silence. Sidolan is entangled in his heart. It's really hard for him to decide what the couple are facing now. He doesn't know whether he should choose to take them back, continue to let the woman marry the island leader, or let them elope together and go back to recover their lives. All of a sudden, a heavy gasp came from behind with the special low roar of Warcraft, which made Sidolan tight. He turned to look behind him and saw countless green eyes suddenly appeared in the woods behind him, still slowly approaching. Wingo Island. Sidolan nervously drew out his sword and retreated to the girl and the bodyguard. The bodyguard was startled. After seeing that it was Sidolan, the man's eyes were filled with murderous spirit. He drew a long sword from his waist and pointed to Sidolan. When did you come here? Since you've talked about running away together. Sidolan murmured, but did not pay attention to the careful man behind him, just focused on looking at the green eyes behind him. The bodyguard also found the wolves behind him and suddenly became nervous. He went to Sidolan and stood side by side with him. Are you here to catch us back? Sidolan was affectionate and serious. He didn't look at the bodyguard at all, but said coldly, I think we'd better solve the current situation before chatting. Both of them were silent, and the bodyguard was very worried because it was the group outside the forest. Now if they were fighting with the wolves, they would hear them. In this way, no one could escape. Turning to look at the woman behind, the guard said, Sister Fan, you go first or none of us will be able to leave. But the woman's eyes were red, and she was crying. She wanted to say something, but she was interrupted by Sidolan. I also think it's true. You go quickly, or we can't fight with you who can't protect ourselves. The bodyguard and the woman, almost at the same time, opened their eyes to see Sidolan in front of them. The wolves before Sidolan met had no intention of rushing up. So he turned around, walked towards the woman, waved his sword, and stabbed the woman. No! The bodyguard yelled, and his face turned pale. Before he could stop him, he saw Sidolan pick up his sword and take a piece of red cloth from the woman's body. He held it in his hand, looked up, and said to the woman, Go, from now on, you will be dead. Looking up at the dense dark forest, he said, If you go out from here, you will be left to fate. There are many warcraft on the road ahead. It's up to you whether you run away or are eaten by warcraft. Turning around, he went to the guard and took a deep look at the guard. You must fight with me now. The bodyguard turned his head and looked at the woman. Suddenly, his eyes were full of tears. He gritted his teeth, nodded, and turned to face the wolves. In an instant, countless green eyes in all directions rushed towards them. Be careful, Sidulan yelled and stabbed him with a sword. A wolf screamed under Sidulan's sword. The assassin retreated several steps, fell to the ground, and rolled together. The bodyguard pursed his mouth tightly. It was obvious that this was the first time he had participated in this type of battle. He was in a cold sweat and his face was red. Before they come back, leave and go after the girl. With this, Sidulan raised his hand and used his sword as a knife to cut it. His blood sprayed his face. He wiped his face, turned his head, and looked at the guard with a smile. I'm not from this tribe, so your business has nothing to do with me, don't you think? The guard's mouth widened in surprise. At this time, his eyes were full of gratitude. He nodded to Sidulan and focused on dealing with the wolves in front of him. Etion, outside the forest, looked at the dark direction of the forest strangely. What's the matter? Why hasn't Sidulan come out yet? All the people around stood up and looked inside. Then they turned and looked at Etion, as if they were waiting for Etion's order. All of a sudden, there was a loud howl in the forest. It was so long that everyone could not help shivering and looked at the forest in horror. Are they attacked by wolves in the forest? Etion frowned and became nervous immediately. All of them took out their weapons. For a moment, they were all on guard. The bodyguard is panting and full of scars. We can see the fierce battle just now. The wolves in front of him are like crazy. They are rushing towards the direction of two people. But Sidulan is calm and easy to deal with everything in front of him. All of a sudden, there was a lot of noise outside, which made Sidulan frown. Looking out, he saw a large group of people coming towards the forest with torches. Suddenly, Sidulan's heart was heavy. He turned to the bodyguard and said, "You go quickly." You go to find your fanmei. Wave off a wolf's head, Sidulan block in front of the bodyguard. The bodyguard seemed to be hesitating for a long time. He lowered his head and shook his hands. He didn't know where to go. Seeing a wolf coming from behind the bodyguard, Sidulan couldn't help frowning and stabbing at the bodyguard's back. He yelled, "It's too late if you don't go. The forest is so dangerous. I'm afraid the girl is not safe." With that, the bodyguard seemed to have made up his mind to tear off the symbol of the adult on his hand, cut off a wisp of his hair, and handed it to Sidulan. "Please, brother, if we can meet again in the future, we will be rewarded by Yongquan." Then he arched his hand and ran to the darkness behind him. People outside, seeing that they were about to come in, suddenly burst into the sky in the dark forest. Sidulan looked at the wolf in front of him and suddenly raised his hand to block the wolf's bite. Suddenly, the wolf's teeth bit Sidulan's arm, and the blood flowed like a column. Sidulan put their hair and clothes under the blood for a long time. "Little brother, over there," I suddenly heard Etion's voice coming from a distance. Sidulan covered his arm and threw the sword on the ground. The wolf in front of him soon rushed up to Sidulan and bit him with a roar. Etion was startled. He waved the torch and waved it to the wolf. In an instant, the wolves were scared back, and the whole crowd rushed to protect Sidulan behind them. After that, he helped Sidulan up from the ground. He looked at Sidulan from the sky and saw that there was no big wound. Then he vomited and looked around, wondering, "Little brother, what about those two peoples?" Sidulan sighed very sad and spread out his palm. Suddenly, the clothes and hair of the two people with blood appeared in front of Etion. Etion's face turns pale and swallows saliva. He is scared to retreat for several steps. This is a big deal. Both sides of the handover are rich businessmen. If such a terrible thing happens in the middle of the journey, then the next thing is totally unpredictable. I'm afraid the whole mercenary team will be destroyed. Well, how could that be possible Etion exclaimed, staggering back 2 steps, but sitting under the tree, because of the sky fire, so the surrounding wolves are unconsciously quietly left. Sidulan looked down at his wrist with a bitter smile in his heart. He didn't know whether his decision was right or not. He didn't know whether the 2 men could be saved when they fled to the mountains from here. Thinking about this, I went to see Etion with a gloomy face, stood up from the ground, and asked him, "Do you mean that when you come here, you just see them eaten?" "Yes, I want to save them, but there was no time at all. After I dispersed the wolves, even the blood on the ground was almost licked clean." Sidulan sighed, very sorry. Etion clenched his teeth, clenched his fist, and his face was extremely gloomy. "In this way, I'm afraid we'll die this time." Looking at the barren mountains, Sidulan could not help frowning and ran out to avoid the woman. "Now I have encountered such a thorny problem. I let them go by taking advantage of my convenience, but I don't know what the next team will face. But in Sidulan, I hate compulsion. A large group of people in the mountains sitting together in a circle. It's late at night, and there are all kinds of situations in the forest, which makes people have to watch around carefully." Suddenly, a terrible howl came from the forest. The sound seems to penetrate the forest, towards the whole night sky penetration. Suddenly, one after another of the calls from all directions of the forest. It made everyone sweat. "This is a wolf's nest." Everyone stood up, arms in their hands tightly clenched in small groups, surrounded by a small circle, attentively alert. Around, countless wolves walk, but no wolf dare to come forward, because at this time of the crowd, almost everyone has a torch, which is very terrible in the eyes of the wolves, but they are also very smart. They know that there will be a moment when the torch will be exhausted. The wolf around him paced slowly, with a pair of green eyes, flickering in the woods. He couldn't see the edge at a glance, so everyone's heart sank again. "Curator, what should we do? I'm afraid we are no match for so many wolves. Now there are 2 dead, and we don't know." There is a bodyguard behind Etion, swallowing saliva and stammering. Etion turned his head and glared at him angrily. "Shut up, don't say these words." His eyes glanced at Sidulan, who was surrounded by light clouds, and said, "Who knows if he is dead? Maybe he is running away, but he is disguised as being killed by wolves." Said suddenly grinned, "But don't worry, I see the wolves all over the mountains. I see the 2 people, even now alive, can't escape here." Gradually, the torches of the people around him gradually went out, and Sidulan looked around. Sure enough, those wolves have begun to move, a pair of green eyes as if to swallow life. People feel gloomy and terrible. "Little brother, what do you say?" Etion went to Sidulan carefully and asked in a low voice. "It's going to have to be tough." Sidulan light smile. "However, poor girl, I'm afraid there is still a sweetheart. The result of this not only lost his wife, also lost his life. Women, of course, are the orders of their parents." Etienling snorts, full of disdain. "She can marry a good family. That's her honor." Sidulan couldn't help but smile. He bowed his head and said nothing, but in his eyebrows, he was filled with indifference. When everyone's torches almost burned out, the whole pack suddenly began to attack. Everyone's face was pale and focused on fighting against the turbulent wolves in front of him. Only Sidulan seemed to need his eyes sleepily to look at the eastern sky. It's almost dawn. The skyline has a ray of light, and the forest is gradually less dark. If it goes on like this, the wolves in the forest will soon retreat. But in front of the wolves, but like red eyes, crazy towards the team. There were countless howls, the sound of broken bones, and the sound of eating meat, which made the atmosphere of the whole forest suddenly terrible. Some timid people who have just entered the business have been scared to pee their pants. Before they have time to fight, they have been torn apart by the wolves and eaten. In a primeval forest closest to the top of the volcano. No one would have thought that in several small towns where Wu Zong was the ruler, there were one master after another. If he didn't feel the power that was introduced into his body, he would be so huge. I'm afraid that Buying doesn't want to admit that the man opposite is Wuling realm. You, if it's really Wuling, White Shadow can't believe looking at the dragon to pour evil. Wuling? At the same time, all the people around were shocked. They thought that he was wrong when they heard the voice of Bai Ying. But now I see that Bai Ying doesn't even have the ability to resist under the man's hand. And I hear that Bai Ying, who has already fought with the man, is more sure that he is the realm of Wuling. Even if he doesn't want to believe it, he can only believe it. He is really Wuling. What does a Wuling man do here? When did such a master come to Flint Town? It's incredible. Is he also interested in the things in this tomb? The sound of discussion continues to ring out, and everyone looks at the dragon with a kind of adoring eyes. The face that is enough to charm all living beings looks more sacred at this time. Different from the others, Yunwu, who is not far behind Long Qingxie, is inexplicably relieved. Wu Ling, it's really him. Cloud Dance's eyes narrowed, although I don't know why his strength will improve so much. But when she saw his hand, the unique habit and breath made her sure that the man in front of her was the man she had been looking for a long time. After many days, he finally appeared in front of himself with a more tall posture. Long Qingxie's strike was successful, and he didn't act again, because he knew clearly that his just strike had no way to force that force out of his body with the strength of White Shadow, and he would die under that force before long. No matter who dares to kill the little guy, he will not let it go. But now, the dragon has more important things to do. Turning around and looking at the figure behind him, Long Qingxie also looked at his own figure. There was a smile on his beautiful face. Little guy, I haven't seen you for a long time. Do you still recognize me as a husband? Once the words came out, all the people around were petrified. Long Qingxie's voice was not deliberately lowered, so everyone could hear it clearly. For husband? Is this beautiful man in Wuling realm the husband of this woman? No. How could it be? This girl looks young. How can she have a husband at a young age? And how could this man ask her if she knew her husband? Isn't that strange? Cloud Dance a corner of the mouth hook way. I poor is really don't recognize. The crowd fainted again. What's the situation? Long Qingxie laughs. His figure flashes and goes directly to Yunwu. With an extension of his arm, he hugs Yunwu in his arms and says, "Don't you know me? Then I'll let you know it again." The intimacy of the two fell into the eyes of the people around them. It was only at this moment that they finally realized that the two people who were higher than each other in skill level really recognized each other. Sister Yun, this is the sister you are looking for, friends? Huolinger jumps to Yunwu's side with bright eyes, looks at Long Qingxie's body with curious eyes, thinks about the wording, and almost says brother-in-law. Later, I thought of what I said before Cloud Dance and changed it into a friend. Small Nine also walked to come over, looking at the Long Qing evil's face up and down upon her. After a while, don't cross a face to go, eyes quite some not angry. Clearly is a big man, even more evil than her, really evil. Little Nine silently make complaints about her. Well, his name is Long Qingxie. Cloud Dance introduces the way to Huolinger, and then introduces Huolinger and Xiao Jiao to Long Qingxie. Several people recognize each other. Long Qingxie had a warm smile on his face, just like, "Thank you for taking care of my wife." It looks like an elegant young man, but he is thinking, "Little guy, there are many adventures these days." Cloud Dance turns a white eye at one side stomach and Dragon Poor Evil. How can she not see the meaning of Dragon Poor Evil? When did you see him like this? A few people are talking noisily here, but some people below can't stay. Mulin looked at the four people who were talking and laughing in front of him with a cold face. He wanted to rush up and kill them all. Originally wanted to use the dragon to sow dissension, but did not expect that the other side did not hesitate to stand beside Yunwu. He eventually underestimated the relationship between them. "Young master, shall we leave first?" Behind him, an attendant came to Mulin's side and said in a low voice, "My current enemy is a Wudi and a Wuling. No matter how I look at it, I can't offend them. Even if I pour all the strength of Yulin Town, I can't touch them." Suddenly, Mulin feels so powerless. Why do you offend such a big man? Looking at the two figures who talked happily, Mulin's eyes were full of unwilling, spitting out a sentence from his teeth. Go. Then turn around and leave. What? Young Master Mu is leaving now? Long Qingxia's lazy voice sounded as if he was saying goodbye to an old friend who was about to leave, but it was so terrible in Mulin's ears. Just stepped out of the pace of a meal, Mulin's body inadvertently some shaking. Cloud danced, several people put the line of sight to Mu Lin's body one after another, and the public below also looked directly in the past. For a moment, Mu Lin was on his back. Mulin? Huolinger cried out. She also saw the scene just now. She didn't like this Mulin, especially when she saw him bullying others. But at the moment, she suddenly wanted to ask for help for him. If the man in white, who is Wuling, really does it, I'm afraid that Mulin will fall here in an instant. It's just that they don't know the relationship between several towns nearby, and they know each other. When Sister Yun leaves, there will be war between Yulin Town and Flint Town. And as a Flint, she had to stop the fight. Sister Yun, Huolinger pulled Cloud Dance's sleeve and said in a low voice. His eyes were full of hesitation, although he has such a reason, but said the Primer Stone Town did not give Cloud Dance any help. Along the way, Sister Yun has taken care of her a lot. Do you want to let Sister Yun be wronged, but not revenged because of herself? Huolinger's heart is very tangled. Yunwu looks down at her. Seeing her like this, she can't help but reach out and rub her head. Instead of saying anything to her, she raises her head and looks at Mulin. Her eyes are cold. What she says is to Dragon Qingxia. It's almost time. We should go inside and have a look. You must have been here for a long time. Before long Qingxia left the center, the city masters had already arrived. If they started fighting for the jade medal, they were afraid that the battle would be almost finished. Now they are in the past, and they just sit and reap the benefits. Long Qingxia knew that Yunwu was going to let Mulin go. Now he stopped pestering him. He put his hand into Yunwu's arms and said with a smile, That's what I said. It's time for us to join in the fun. After that, without waiting for Huolinger and Xiaojio to take Cloud Dance directly, they went to the center. Wuling's speed is very fast. Although he can't fly, it's not easy for others to catch up with him. Oh, wait for me? Small 9-1 stamped foot. A coquettish face is full of unwilling. What kind of master? He is so fond of sex but despises friends. When he sees a man who is more beautiful than me, he leaves so fast. How can you survive the test and get the inheritance without my help? When I see it, having said that, he hastened to catch up. Huolinger is surprisingly quiet. I'm afraid that she's still grateful for Yunwu's help. She quickly follows Xiaojio to the front. She is not familiar with the grave. If left alone, I'm afraid it will be dangerous. Lingyar! Mulin's voice sounded behind him. Huolinger's footstep, without looking back, continued to move forward, pretending not to hear. Mulin's face became a little better just because Huolinger helped him. Young master, one side of the entourage carefully said, We are not going to see other ear room. Go away! Mulin was in a bad mood. At this time, someone came to the door and roared. He was so scared that he quickly backed down. In the center of the tomb, when Yunwu arrived, he didn't see the disabled everywhere. On the contrary, the city leaders of each town lived in a corner with their own teams, and they looked very close. Everyone's eyes are shining smart and greedy light, but everyone's eyes have a trace of fear, who did not take the lead to grab in front of things. The appearance of Cloud Dance immediately attracted all the city masters to turn their heads and look over. When they saw that there were only 2 people coming, their vigilance relaxed a lot. Gentlemen, this is not your place to come. Your battlefield is the rest of the tomb. The Lord Mu of Yulin took the lead. He started to see Cloud Dance before middle school, but now he has one more person, which is even more unpleasant. Besides, when he saw the 2 of them appear together, he thought it was Long Qingxia who betrayed his son. Oh, is that right? Cloud Dance voice light says, that I slant want to stay here. Unai me? Yumu's city master's eyes are fierce. He looks at Yunwu and wants to rush up to kill her. The atmosphere was the same as that of Mulan. Long Qingxia said in his heart, "He is worthy of father and son." This jade card is originally a ownerless thing. Those who have the ability can get it, and we should not stop it. The exit is Huading in Huasher Town. Seeing the appearance of Cloud Dance, he was very happy and immediately said. Yunwu felt the friendly sight of Huading and nodded to him. "Sister Yun, you are walking too fast and tired. I'm so tired." At this time, Hualinger and Xiaojiu appear breathlessly in the central square. Until Yunwu sighed, Hualinger finally stops. Worthy of martial arts. Small 9 voice, just export. Suddenly accept the long Qing evil eyes. Immediately change the will export words. Is worthy of the master. Speed is faster than us. Long Qingxia squinted with satisfaction. "Sister Yun, let's go to Dad." Hualinger pulled Cloud's sleeve and said, "Tell him that you have found a friend." Cloud Dance nodded. Originally, she planned to go to the team of Flint Town. Now the appearance of Hualinger let her have a fair reason. Under the leadership of Hualinger, several people went directly to the team of Huasher Town. Huateng saw this scene, and the joy on his face was more obvious. "Dad, I'll bring Sister Yun and them here." Hualinger runs the fastest and pours on Huading's body. She says happily, "Sister Yun has found her friend, and she is also an expert." Huading's eyes lit up and looked at the 2 people who appeared around Yunwu, only to find that no matter the charming woman or the man in white, he could not see their realm. The Fire Tongue Heart is greatly surprised, at the same time more joyful. Such a team can kill almost any team on the scene. Even if they can't win the Jade Medal this time, if they can make friends with them, I'm afraid other towns will not care about Flint Town in the future. Congratulations to Miss Yun for finding her friend. Huading politely smiles at Yunwu. Cloud Dance lightly nodded and said, "Fire City Master is polite, but there are several friends who are separated. Now what I have found is just one. When it's over, I'd like to ask Fire City Master to help me find a place nearby." Huading naturally is willing. Originally also thought that oneself does not have the sufficient reason to let the Cloud Dance stand in own side. Now listen to this reason directly sent to the door, at the moment directly straightforward smile. "Miss Cloud, don't worry, it's wrapped in me." A few people here had a good talk, but the Machengzu who just spoke couldn't see it anymore. "Lord of Fire, what? Are you going to let these outsiders join us in the fight?" City Master Mu's eyes are slightly cold. He looks at Huading, Yunwu, and others walking so close. His attitude is quite polite, and he is alert immediately. The Lord of Mu is worried too much. Huading glanced at him and said coldly, "Miss Yun is my friend in Huasher Town. Naturally, you can help me in Huasher Town. Yulin Town doesn't have any foreign aid. What's the matter? Are you the only ones who can hire people in Yulin Town, but not in Huasher Town?" The City Master of Mu stared at him, but he couldn't say a word. Huading, who is always steady and silent, is so impolite when he talks. The Lord of Mu City is still concerned about his team. Fireting finally said a word, directly shake hands to turn around. No longer more words, as if more and Mu City Lord said a word is an insult to himself in general. The Lord of Mu gave a cold hum and shook hands with Huading. However, when he did so, he seemed to be very annoyed and angry. He was no longer as smart as he used to be. Yunwu's eyes were on the milky light in the middle. He turned his head curiously and asked Zhang Huading, "Is that your goal? How come they're all here and nobody's doing it?" Huading immediately shook his head with a bitter smile and said, "How can it be so easy? Although it looks soft, everyone has been here for so long, but no one can touch it, let alone take it away." Yunwu didn't have a choice. Although she had guessed that it was not so easy to get, Huading's words made her even more surprised that it couldn't even be touched. "When I first arrived here, the Lord of Mu City in Yulin Town rushed up directly. Who knows that the light directly shot him out. Later, several city masters wanted to have a try, but the result was no exception." You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.